there we go.
I guess
that's what's up. Y'all got a treat. They're there too. Look at it.
The students are rolling in over here.
All right.
We got a treat for y'all. Y'all see, I see everybody piling in. You all can see who's standing in the background, right? I know y'all can see him. You wasn't expecting that. You got a treat tonight.
Yeah. How's everybody doing tonight?
Good to see them still piling in. Yep. There you go.
Dennis and Jane and Janice and Christy and Kawana and Wendy Muhammad. Okay, hit that chat button.
Yeah, great. Janice says great.
It's all rolling in. Boys, stop. To say what's up to y'all.
I'm not even going to interrupt. I was going to stop popping and say hi. I'll be doing my session tomorrow night. And now remind me, Al, you said the topic tonight was what? You said something about niches?
That's right. It's building and finding a profitable niche.
Okay. Well, if you want me to, man, I can just hop in like literally for a millisecond and give a perspective on it.
Absolutely.
Kind of yeah, because I remember Lawrence and I having extensive conversations about, like not so much in terms of looking for a profitable niche, but at least defining my brand. So I kind of knew, like who I wanted people to know me as. And the big mistake we made was we defined the brand too broadly. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And that slowed down the amount of time, the process for us to really get brand recognition, because I was all over the place. And so when it wasn't really till I drilled in on my core competence, which was, finance and economics, that things really kind of took off. I'm talking about like a tenfold acceleration in earning possibilities and stuff like that. And so I definitely think that not just finding the right niche is important, but really being clear about who you are, like when you're speaking, how your audience sees you, because we see ourselves as complex people that, maybe we like a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but really in the beginning, when you're trying to get to the point where you're making money, you have to define your brand as quickly as possible so that you can at least start monetizing that. And then when you're making enough money, it's almost like, like if you're Michael Jordan, you won your first couple of championships, then you could freestyle a little bit. You know what I mean? Like you could try some different things and have a little fun. But in the beginning, you got to be all about the business and play your position and play it well.
Yep, I agree with that. That's real talk, right knowledge.
All right. Well, I'm going to be quiet, man. I'm going to go and step out and go see the baby.
Actually, Boyce, you made a post go viral.
Which one?
Yeah, of Amina. Yeah, so Boyce is down here in Colombia. Boyce is down here in Colombia visiting his niece. I guess for the second time or first real time.
It's the first time I ever really met the baby. First time she's in the hospital.
Yeah.
When she was born.
But he posted something, and then after he posted it, this picture
Y'all look at that right there.
And he got 6,600 shares.
Yeah.
Wow. Woo, I take naps, but I stay
know about all that. I know I got my on Instagram, but it's cute, right? Like it's like, I take naps, but I stay woke. And she got the eyes to match.
Yeah.
The shirt. Yeah, I didn't know it went viral, but really, I think that might even be a good example of like when you're doing this. Like I think people can have fun with it. Like a lot. Like there is a concept that I haven't heard anybody really use it much, but it's one that I kind of use, which is basically what I would call like monetizing your life. Like be yourself, live your life, share your experiences. Connect with the people. Yeah, sure, you might do business together, but you should connect first, and become friends. And then they get to know, like I don't really worry so much, for example, if people, like if things go bad or somebody says something like, oh, I don't like Boyce Watkins for whatever reason, that doesn't bother me so much because I know that my people know me, like, because they see me living, they see me doing what I do, and they see my good and my bad, my imperfections, as well as the things I do well. And that's what I always wanted. I wanted them to see me as a human being. So like little things like that, like posting a picture of my niece, it wasn't like I was posting and saying, oh yeah, this is going to be a great business move, this is going to go viral. But it was like, hey, this is something that happened in my life that gave me tremendous joy. It's his baby, but it's my first niece. And it also ties back into what we do. We educate kids. You know what I mean? We have the Black Business School for Children. We help people make their kids into millionaires by the age of 30. So it's like, let us talk to you about what we're going to do for our niece. That way you can see that we ain't just talking it. We're walking and talking it at the same time. We walk it like we talk it. And maybe that's kind of like where it goes to ultimately. But I mean, on that day, I wasn't thinking all of that, but that's really kind of the logic behind it. So I think it is okay to just have a little fun with it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely agree with that.
All right, I'm sweating.
I know it's hot back here.
I'm
Stay this hot.
All right.
You put two powerful brothers in the same room.
I'll pop back in before you're done.
Okay.
How long you talking for? An hour?
More or less.
Okay, great. All right.
So I'll around there. Yep.
Get out of the way now.
Okay.
Sorry
okay. No, that ain't no. That's never. Come on, boys. It's never interruption, man.
Hey, you know how I get, man. I start talking.
No, that's okay. As soon as you start talking, I reach for my pen. That's all right. Listen, everybody that's just tuning in, do me a favor real quick. Make sure your settings are on all panelists and attendees if you're in the chat. Okay, right above where you type your messages in the chat, make sure you type to all panelists and attendees, unless you're really just trying to say something to Lawrence and I, but most of the time you all are trying to say something to everybody in the chat. So go ahead and switch that setting over, and y'all see how we are. We ready to have some fun anyway. I see people rolling in. Yep.
Boyce made his cameo, I guess, tonight.
You got Jana, Danita. I see a lot of people. Okay, I see my folks, Ramona, Christy, everybody there. Yep.
All right. Do we want to talk about the homework now, Al? Or you want to talk about it later?
You know what? Let's get into it right now. You know what? We okay. Let me see right now. I want y'all to see we serious about helping you, and we are. Okay, wait a minute. Are you two related? Who? Boyce and Lawrence, or you mean me and Lawrence? Are you two related? Dana's asking, are you two related, Lawrence? Yes, they're brothers.
Boyce. Oh, yeah.
Brothers.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
you can't tell. Man.
Yeah, Boyce is my older brother. He came, he flew all the way down here to Medellin, Colombia, where I live, to visit us and visit his niece for the first time. So she turns 5 months later this week.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah. Now, yep. So look, we're gonna jump right in. Y'all know how we do. We got a ton of information for you. We want to get you working. So I'm saying hello to everybody. If you said hello and I didn't shout you out, don't worry. I will get back around to you because I saw quite a few of you all typing already. And I'm gonna always try to make sure we get a chance to talk to everybody, especially in a setting like this right here. And so we gave you all a little bit of homework last week. Anybody do their homework? Who did some of the homework last week? I'm just curious. Okay, at some point we'll get Lawrence to tell his story about how he moved to down to Colombia. And we'll get him to tell that. Who did the homework? You did. So you answered some of the questions about finding the right target market.
Yeah, we're going to talk more about that tonight, too. Yep.
We're going to talk more about that tonight, so that's good. I got another question. I suggested that you upload a video or try to record something or make a little snippet or get a little snippet of you giving a talk or something. Who did that? Anybody do that? Uh-oh. Hey, Ray, we appreciate that because this is where you discover the truth about professional speaking. So that's okay.
How did you accidentally make a video of you of speaking?
Yeah, that's what I got to hear.
Yeah.
Dana, yeah, how did you – that's okay, Ray. That's why we're here to help you be good, man. Okay.
Yeah. But
okay, I did, but not one I'm ready to share. Okay, Soretta, why? What's wrong with sharing it? Is it not right? You think it needs to be better, or it's not up to your standards? What are you thinking right there? Okay, and while you're typing, I see Jana's answer there while you're doing that. It's okay. Right. I just need some help.
Well, that's what we're here for, though.
We're gonna do that right now. If you got a link to your video. I'm talking to Soretta and Jana right now. If your video is up on YouTube or you were able to upload it somewhere, did either one of y'all do that? If you did, let me know. Or anybody else that's listening. Do you have the link? Did you upload your video? Okay, so Soretta, what I want you to do is, you don't have to do it right now because we're in class, but when you get a chance, upload it on YouTube. You can even have it as an unlisted one. Maybe you're not ready to show the world. That's no problem. Just upload it, make it unlisted, or probably unlisted is best, because sooner or later, as you can see right now, I'm saying we want to put the link in here because we're going to be doing some things we call mini hot seats. Yeah, you already know we got the hot seats, but every now and then, if I give you homework to do, Lawrence is telling you that we need to get something done, we're going to come back and check on y'all to help you out, because obviously if we were all sitting together in person and we're talking about presentation skills and we're talking about something we want you all to do, then we want to get some audience participation so y'all can see it in action. So if any of you right now, we're going to do this for about the next 10 to 15 minutes or so. If anybody has a link, okay, until a link uploaded on YouTube, didn't copy the link yet, Janice is working on it. Who else has a link? I'm just looking for one link. There we go. Yep. Jana. Okay, we're going to roll with Jana first, all right? Jana, how long is your video? You don't mind me asking? You know what, and Lawrence, you can share that, right, Lawrence?
Yeah, I'm pulling it up now.
That's okay. It's 22 minutes. Okay, so we're not gonna watch the whole thing, Jada. I ain't mad at you. We're not gonna do 22 minutes. What I'm looking for is for going forward in the future. We're looking for 5 to 7 minute clips, or 5 to 7 minute talk, or whatever. You know, just long enough so that we can take a look at it real quick, see what's going on. You know, you want us to skip about 5 minutes in, that's fine. That's fine. So pull up hers, Lawrence, because she actually shared it. Do you see the link right there?
Yep, I got it right here.
Okay, let's pull it up and let's see what we got.
All right, let me skip to the 5 minute mark.
That's okay. Yep, go to the 5 minute mark. Automatically, what I like about you automatically is that you even decided not to wait until you were in front of an audience. You were like, I'm just going to do this thing.
Here we go.
This like feeling, this really strong feeling. You ever had a really, really strong feeling like you had to do something? And I don't mean like needing to use the bathroom or anything, but you ever had a really strong feeling like
I need to do this and that?
This is important. Exactly. This is really important for me. I gotta do this, even though you don't know why. Like it's just I should do this.
That like somebody tells you to do, and it's really important. And
then like you remember it, or like that, or like when they tell you, you're like, you know what, that is important. I'm really gonna do that, or something like that. Like that special feeling is your feeling. It's not something that someone can give you. It's a special feeling for you. Does that make sense? If you don't have it yet, you'll probably get it. So start looking for it. So anyway, it's a feeling like that, and then there's a information, right, that just kind of pops up in my head, and I wasn't like searching for it, or I wasn't trying to what should I kind of had a problem, don't get me wrong, because of course, you know, in order for, as I've learned, for God to start talking to me, I had to pray. Everything, the stuff that God's talked to me about, always connected to the things that I prayed about, or the things that I was going through and chose to meditate, or chose to be disciplined and just say, you know what, I'm not going to worry about this. I'm just going to pray about it and do what I'm supposed to do as I feel it, and just be patient, and I'm still struggling with
just
the
like
words.
Flowing through the patience.
Okay.
Well, that wasn't really the thing. So.
That's something.
Okay, pause for a second, Lawrence. Okay, so let's talk about this real quick. First of all, this type of video right here, it is, and you all can probably answer this. This type of video, right? No, that's okay, Jana. Don't worry about it. That's okay. Do not worry about it. I understand it's 22 minutes long. That's okay. We're going to show you the power of video right here, okay? Because this type of video, I'm asking you all in the chat, this out of curiosity. As a professional speaker, who would this type of video appeal to? Anybody type in the chat. I don't care. Whoever you think it would appeal to. Because people in my brain, I'm already thinking, okay, so y'all are saying millennials, parents, family. A lot of parents. Okay, good. A lot of parents. Then a lot of parents. Okay. Also, how about would this type of video appeal to your current fans or your current audience, people who already like you? Would it appeal to those type of people? Absolutely, because it shows authenticity. It gives them a chance to really look into who you are and hear you unscripted and authentic. So the first thing I'm grabbing from this video is that one thing I'm grabbing, and you all want a video like this that delivers this in some shape, form, or fashion. Yes, you have videos where you're demonstrating your speaking skills up in front of an audience, but this right here demonstrates your ability to have a conversation. It demonstrates your ability to teach, and it demonstrates your ability to be authentic with your audience, okay? And these types of videos are powerful. Now, a couple tips about this type of video is that they're usually stronger when you make them shorter and turn them into a series, okay? So in other words, if this one wasn't 22 minutes long, maybe if it was 2 to 3 minutes long, and you would say, hey, look, here's a quick conversation I was having with my son. My son and I were talking about this. I had a thought of the day for you all. I was talking to my son and I about it, and here's what we got, okay? And so what will happen is, and yes, she could cut it, Dennis. She could cut it, okay? She could cut it up if she wanted to. Or she could say, you know, we're on our way to school, or we're coming back from school. My son asked me a question real quick. We were talking about this. I just wanted to drop a quick, piece of information for you all. And what you do is you let your son get his little piece in. You say what you have to say. And then what you're looking for is, I'm just looking for your one point. Okay? And I do agree. There's a point where she learned from her son. Dennis said that also. But what I'm looking for in this type of video also is, what is your one point? What's your one principle, your one main thing you're trying to teach to the person that's watching? Because at some point in time, I would like for you early on in this video to turn, look at the camera real quick, and say, so this is what I'm saying, or this is what I want to share with you all today. This is the message I want you to get. I want you to understand that you may have to search or wait for that feeling. It may hit you. You may not be able to describe it immediately, and that's okay. Or give them whatever your main message is early on, okay? She said, I did near the 13-minute mark. Okay, so good. So let's talk. 13 minutes. What are the chances of you getting someone to watch a video for 13 minutes before you get to the main point of the video? This is just real talk, right? We're giving it to y'all. I want y'all to make money. It's very challenging. All you got to do is look at your time, okay? But I am telling you, early on in the video, especially in your first, it's just like a real audience. It's like a real audience. In your first 30 seconds or so, if you hit them with something that you want them to keep, this is what I'm going to talk to you about real quick, this is what I wanted to share with you, then you have a better chance of holding them for a longer amount of time, all right? And so for this type of video, if you're going to use a personal video that is showing you at a moment during the day, and it's a teaching moment or something that you're dealing with somebody one-on-one, and you're in the car and you're talking, make it a little shorter. It's not that it can't be longer, but at first, while you're learning and while you're building your audience and working with them, it's usually better to make it a little bit shorter, okay, and get your message out a little bit sooner. And then you can come back around and say, you know what, I'm going to share something with you all again in a little while, or tomorrow, or check back with me tomorrow, or make sure you'll check out part 2. I'm going to post part 2 in a few minutes. And so what will happen is you can take advantage of that. So what I appreciate is you doing your homework, number one, because I heard some other things we're going to dig into also as I keep hearing what your talk is. I'm already getting a feel for your style. I'm getting a feel for your ability to deliver information, okay? And so we're going to capitalize on that, and those are my main tips. If you're doing a personal video, make your point early so they know where you're headed with it, and try to keep the video shorter until you develop the audience. Like Boyce has an audience that will roll with him for a long time, like that, yeah. And has more command of his topic. All right. And somebody was asking, I'm gonna let you go ahead, Lawrence. Somebody want to know, what camera did you record with? That's a good question, Jane. Type in there what camera you use. She used to sell and use the filter. Great. Go ahead, Lawrence.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love this video.
Yeah.
And I love it for, a few different reasons, because it drives home the point of don't aim for perfection, aim for connection.
That's right.
And that's the most important lesson of last week, was don't aim for perfection, or don't aim for perfection, aim for connection. And I think that, Jana did that really well, in this video. I think the video should be shorter, but I also know, just watching Boyce too, like some of the videos that you might see as a short advertising, it came from like an hour-long video that he might have done, right? Because he just has his camera always on. Like when he just popped into class, he was actually live streaming. when he was talking to us, he was still live streaming, right? So then there might be a nugget that comes out of that we will clip and use later in some type of marketing material, just some type of material to connect with the customer. And exactly. I'm glad you shared it anyway, on that particular front. Yep. Also, these types of videos are actually things that, so I'm a part of a mastermind, it costs about $20,000 a year, right? Yeah. And, I go, once a quarter, and a few other things that we do. Right. So like we said before, like even just because you guys are learning from us, and we go out and learn from other people as well. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that we talked about for 2019 that people are doing is increasing their know, like, and trust factor. Right. We talked about that in the masterclass, in which got you guys to sign up for this course. And KLT is very evident in this video in terms of know, liking, and trusting in an authentic type of way. And trust me when I say that is the mode of sales that the world is moving to, is authenticity and know, liking, and trusting to a high degree. So I think Jana has that naturally, in terms of these types of videos, and I can already identify that as a strength of hers.
Yep, I agree wholeheartedly, and this is one of those types of videos that you got to have. So now, with this type of video right here, get her up in front of the room to do a keynote? Maybe, maybe not. But what it will do is the person who's looking to bring her in for a keynote will get this feeling that they know her, and maybe go looking through the channel for the rest of the live footage to see how we can get up in front of others, see how we can get in front of her, or do we want to follow her and keep her in mind for later? So we think that's powerful also. Okay, now Janice and who else is supposed to, and Ray. Oh, you got another one?
Yeah.
Who's that? Is that Ray?
I think so. Yeah, I didn't catch.
Hold on, let me scroll back up real quick. Yeah, I think this is Ray. Ray, is this one yours? He said, "Oh my God, yeah." So this is Ray's. Janice, this is what we're gonna do, okay? Janice, we're gonna check out Ray's, all right? And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna pause, get into tonight's, and we're gonna come back around and take care of yours. It's closer to the end, all right? And so the whole point of this, we're gonna check out Ray again, but I just want you all to see that, do your homework. We got reasons for that, because you never know when you can take advantage of getting on what we call these mini hot seats, so that we can give y'all some straight feedback and help give y'all some extra tips right then and there on the spot, okay? I see you, Sarita. You got Sarita. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Sarita. Is it Sarita or Sarita? Put the phonetic up there so I can make sure I'm saying, okay, I'll go by. There we go. Okay, Sarita. All right. And so, all right, let's take a look and let's see what Ray got, what Ray has going on.
You use technology to do business, and technology needs to be kept up with. Unfortunately, we don't have all the time to keep up with the new developments as they come out. That's where I come in. I'm Ray Giles, and I'm the guy that can keep you abreast of the ultimate technology as it comes out. It's what I do. I'm a college professor. I've been teaching about 15 years. I work with clients and customers as tech support, and I give them a lot of information that they normally would never get had they hadn't met a guy like me. So if you want to, let's get together, let's talk, and let's have an interesting conversation about what you do, and maybe I can help you out. Like my page if this is okay.
Nice. Okay. Cool. Now, so Ray, here's my thing about this. I like where you're headed with this. I get the idea. You're trying to make a personal, almost introductory type video. They work very well. Now, here's my biggest piece of feedback for you, and that is this. It's common sales terminology. I know you know it. That is facts tell and stories sell. So what I would like for you to do is in a video like that, I want you to remake this video and let us know when you remake it, okay? Here's the deal. Keep the same idea. That is, I am going to present a problem to them. You got me? That's what you did. You presented a common problem to whoever will be watching the video. And then you explain to them kind of how you are the solution, or you want to be the solution, or you provided the solution for other people that are like them. And then you're saying, you know what, and I'm open to having a conversation with you. Please join my family or be part of my tribe. That's basically the three things you did. I love it. Here's the thing you could have done. Let's just turn all of that into a story. Let's get out there and say, hey, this is Ray. Look, imagine you having one of those days where technology is driving you nuts. You know, maybe the computer froze, or maybe you had too much to deal with, or you didn't know this, or it's the hustle and bustle, or whatever. What I want you to do is paint this narrative in their mind that almost sounds like a story, and you can say, you know what? That happens to a lot of people. As a matter of fact, I just helped out someone recently with that. Her name is so-and-so, or his name is this. This is what happened, and this is how I helped him or her. And you know what? I'm looking, and in similar fashion to helping him or her, I would love to have a chance to help you out with that. And as a matter of fact, pause, Ray, we're going to help you take this. We're going to help you create this. As a matter of fact, take 5 minutes right now to go download my free report that gives you 5 ways to do this. It's yours for free, just because I want to help you out. Please subscribe, like the channel, and I look forward to connecting with you again in the very, very near future. I came out, I told stories. I showed them how I can solve their problem by giving a testimonial. And then most importantly, what I did is I didn't just say I could help you. I actually did help you. I practiced something known as reciprocity. I gave you something that is of value, that is free, that will help you out. That's going to help put you into the sales funnel and help make you want to link up with me, and you get to see that I'm a credible expert and that I really can help you out. Does that make sense? Okay, good. And I see, and read Danita's comment, this is good. Ray, I was recently talking with someone who was previously incarcerated, and he was saying how fearful he was of his computer. Okay, he's had it for a year and says he just doesn't understand it. So what she's trying to tell you is that there is a market for people like this. I agree. Okay, so tell stories. Make it always try to be in a narrative form, not just giving them facts. And then have something to offer. Another video series. Here are my 5 tips, little downloadable ebook or something like that. And we're going to help you put that together. That type of video can get some traction for you, especially if it's an introductory video to your website or to your YouTube channel. You want to add anything to that one, Lawrence?
No, I love it. I think Ray did very, very good in terms of identifying problems in that video and his messaging, from that perspective. Like the message, I think was great. I think it's how the message was delivered and just the stories and other things that are around the message. That's what can be improved upon.
Okay, great. So listen, I see a lot of people saying you have your links, you got story. Good. We're going to look at them. Let's get into tonight's topic. But we're going, by the time this whole 10 weeks is up, if you have a video, we should have heard at least 1 or 2 samples from all of you. And so that we can begin to make sure not just that we have your speaking business up and running, but it also that so we can take a look at your art and take a look at the art of public speaking and be able to see what you are delivering. Okay. And so, Christopher, you got a question right here. What if you're wanting to do public speaking for schools? What should the message be to kids? Christopher, do me a favor. Take that question, go over to the Q&A section right underneath the video, type that question in there. Just copy and paste it right to the Q&A because we're going to talk about that a little bit later. I want to make sure I get to that question, okay? All right, so everybody who has a link, we're going to circle back around in a second. But anyway, let's jump into tonight's topic, Lawrence. What are we going to talk about tonight?
Yeah, I'm excited about tonight because the work that you do in terms of finding and developing your niche, it's really the core foundation to everything else that happens, right? Yes. Like this initial research that you do in your target market, your buyer personas, we'll get into all these words here in a few, your areas of critical expertise, and just everything that we are talking about tonight determines how your product and how easy or hard your life is going to be in the future as you develop out your brand. So, you know, I think I posted a while ago the 3 key aspects in terms of building a movement, building an expertise, building a brand. You know, your role as an influencer, your role as a producer, and your role as a marketer, right? So all 3 of those roles that, you know, I've talked about before, they all lead back to this work that you're doing in terms of niche development and finding your niche.
Yep. And so the thing that jumps out for me with this whole topic is they just love to tell me when I first got started, pick a niche and go rich. Pick a niche and go rich. Everybody loves to say a thing. I'm like, okay, it seems so easy. Like I could just go pick any topic I wanted to as long as it was a niche. Then I could go over there, you know, create a program, make a book, write a book or whatever, and then go make some money off of this thing. And I was banging my head off the table, off the walls everywhere because it seemed like every week I had a new niche. See, nobody told me to say, okay, you got to pick a niche, yeah, grow rich, but you got to stick with your niche. You got to work it. You got to develop it. You got to mine it. You got to build it. Like I was missing that whole thing. I was basically trying to run from niche to niche because I keep telling y'all before, unfortunately for me, when I started speaking, if I didn't eat, I didn't speak. If I didn't speak, I didn't eat, right? And so I was just like, whatever the hot topic is of the week, if we want to talk about networking at a networking function, I got you. I can talk about that. Okay, y'all want to come talk to the Rotary Club about sales? I got that. I could do that too. Oh, you want me to come talk to the students about adversity or about test-taking techniques? I could do that too because I was like, whatever niche I need was the one I was going to use to make money. They said pick a niche and grow rich. Well, I'm going to pick niches and get riches. That's what I was thinking. Right?
Yeah.
But it's not. It wasn't that simple. What I found out is that niching ain't easy. Niching ain't easy, baby.
Niching ain't easy.
Niching ain't easy. All right. So we can make it simple, but it's not that easy. And so what we want to do is, if we want to get into some how-to so you can start finding a niche where you can put your foot down and, you know, and really establish your business to start making some money. Now, I don't know if you all listen to it or not, but there's a free program up, you know, Great Pro Speakers. It's an introductory course. One of those in there, part number 4 or something, is talking about starting to develop your niche or develop a profitable niche. And also in the library, there's a 53-minute audio program that's there with me and Lawrence from years ago where we recorded a podcast on building and developing a niche. Now, I'm going to show y'all something. Here's a side note. We want to give y'all the truth. This is what we always say. This is where you discover the truth about professional speaking. So I'm going to teach you something about content. This is in addition to what we're talking about tonight. Okay, so let's step out of talking about a niche for a second. And I'm going to talk to you about adding value and delivering value to your content. Those other two, the recording, okay, and especially the free introductory program, when we talked about the definition of what a niche is, what is a niche, this is the original definition we gave. We said, for a professional speaker, your niche is the combination of, you know, the specific topic, the audience, and product that you focus on in order for you to generate revenue. Now, if we're looking at this in terms of content, in other words, we started off with some free content that we wanted to have that was valuable. Then we moved over into kind of like a podcast format where people were able to pay a subscription and hear from us on a podcast more about developing their niche. And if you look at that, we gave a strong what. We explained what a niche is, okay? We gave you the elements of it. You can see right there what the 3 things of them are, and not according to the typical normal business school definition. We tried to shape it and make it so that it was specifically for professional speakers. So there's a big what right there, okay? This is what a niche is. In the 53-minute podcast, we even started going into a little bit of the why. But what's missing from this definition, and we're about to show y'all right now how you up your definitions, fix them, add more value to them so that people can start working on them. What's missing from that value right there, from that definition, is a valuable part, and that is called how to. So when you are teaching people, if you tell them what to do, that has some value. When you explain to them why they should do it, that has even a little bit more value, okay? But in terms of being a subject matter expert, that's an SME, a subject matter expert who is supposed to transform the life of someone, the most valuable content that you can give them is when you start getting into detailed how-to information. And the only thing more valuable than how-to is, well, I'll do it for you. Okay, so there you go. So it is a how-to. I'm like, we're going to show you exactly how to, or we're going to do it for you. That would be a template. Here's some software. I'm a consultant. I set up the whole system for you. So right now we're talking about how-to information. So here's a definition that we have for you all tonight that people who are not in the masterclass are not going to get. And this definition is much more powerful because it contains the how-to elements. So here it is. For a professional speaker, your niche is a combination of the audience, your ACE, which is the area of credible expertise, and offers that you focus on to generate revenue. Now, I'm going to explain to you why that definition is so much more powerful. The reason it's more powerful is because if I say that a niche is a specific topic, oh, I left you with it. I told you what, but it is a big thing missing. And that is, well, how do I pick which topic? Where do I find out? And you know what? That's an important part. And so we substitute the word topic now for you all. We put in the word area of credible expertise. Because if you're getting up in front of an audience, or you're creating a product, or you're trying to offer someone something to someone, it needs to be in an area of credible expertise. That is, it's an area at which I have a high level of experience and expertise, and I can prove that I have that level of expertise. Now, that's how you begin to find topics. That's one way, okay? The other thing is, you notice we substituted the word product and put in the word offers. Why? Because we're not just talking about a product. A product sounds like something that's finished, a book, you know, or a book or a CD program or a keynote or half-day seminar or here's a webinar. Listen, an offer does not necessarily, have to be a completed product. It could be something that you're still in the process of developing, but you know what? I got the concept. We have the relevant information. We got the value statement. Therefore, we're going to make an offer to someone to see if they're interested in buying it, and then we're going to continue to build it out. Or an offer could be a suite of products. It could be a whole bunch of products. It could be, you know what, I'm going to come to the back of the room. I'm not just going to sell you a book. We're going to sell you a package. We'll sell you a book. We're going to sell you you get a book, and you get a free DVD program, and you get 1 hour coaching. So we're going to sell a suite of products back there. So what happens is, to really have a niche, a really profitable niche, not only do you need the audience, of course. If you all paid attention during the Expert Empire, the Black Expert Empire, we did that whole talk about monetizing. Then we always told you want to start with the ask and listen. So that's where we're getting into the audience right there, right? But the other thing is that we got to focus in and hone in on your areas of credible expertise. Some areas you're an expert in, and you might need to get more credibility. Some areas you have some credibility, and you might need to have more expertise. Or you might need to go develop and create a whole new area of expertise. This has happened to me several times, all right, where I found myself saying, you know what? I know what I want to talk on. I know what I want to talk about. I know which audience I want to talk to, but I need more expertise, or I need to go get some more credibility in that particular area. And then your offers, okay? So you all should be able to see the clear difference in value between those two definitions, and you should have just got a good little trick about how to up your content so people, when they move from a free program into a paid program, they start feeling like they're getting even more value than what you gave them in the free program, okay? So, and I always tell y'all, if you have any questions, let me know, type them in there. Does that make sense to everybody? Because we're going to move on to the next one. Making sense? I see head nodding. Okay, we're looking good. All right. So let's keep on moving. Niche versus brand. People get confused right here because they're like, okay, so is my niche my brand? Is my brand? Does it represent my niche? What is all of this? Listen, we have a pretty simple way that Lawrence and I like to describe this. That is, your niche is the vehicle and the terrain in which your brand actually operates. So in other words, let's say we're off-road. That's the terrain. We're off-road, and the vehicle is some type of SUV, okay? Now, that's great. So we're off-road. We got a sports utility vehicle because it's four-wheel drive. It has extra storage space, and we can use that. Okay, we know SUVs might be driven all through the city because people just like to floss. Okay, so actually SUVs became popular, but originally this is what they're designed for, specific terrain. So you got the SUV, you got the terrain, which is off-road, and now what's going to distinguish you from all the other SUVs that are trying to operate on that particular terrain is your brand. Are you a Suburban, right? Are you, what's a Durango? Are you Lamborghini? Got one. Range Rover has them. All of this stuff right there. Okay, so brand is what differentiates your vehicle from all others in your niche. Now watch this. Where is a niche actually located? Y'all type the answer in the chat. Where your niche, like where is it? If you had to say, well, niche is here, where would it be? Anybody want to guess? Like where is it actually located? Anybody? I'll give y'all a chance to type. Somebody says in me, in your knowledge, in your expertise. Interesting. You know where a niche is? Somebody said in your heart. Okay. Listen, a niche actually, believe it or not, is actually in the market. The niche is in the market. So there's a market, a marketplace, an industry, and inside of that industry is where you find the niche. Just like saying the terrain is in the state or in the country or on the planet, all right? So your niche is inside the market. Now, this will really help you understand the difference between the brand and the niche. Where's the brand located? Where is your brand located? I'm talking about your brand. Where is it located? Let me see. Let me see what y'all think. Any answers? Somebody said in you. You know where a brand is located? Your brand is located in the mind of the market or in the mind of your customer. So the niche is actually inside the market, is actually somewhere inside of the market. But your brand is nothing but a perception. Truthfully speaking, your brand is a perception that people have about you, your product, your services, your image, your value, whether or not they can trust you. All that's a matter of perception inside of the market, inside of the mind of the market. Does that make sense? Y'all see what I'm saying now? So do not confuse your brand with your niche.
Yeah, you know.
Go ahead, Lawrence, jump in.
Sorry,
man.
And I was just thinking, you brought up a really good point. I think it identifies just the different niches that are out here. Right. Mm-hmm. So you mentioned SUVs, and some people use SUVs as an off-road vehicle, you know, as the primary purpose, while other people just want to floss. Right.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So those are actually two different niches. And the reason it's two different niches is because of the solution that or the problem that you're solving for the customer. One has a customer of wanting to floss. You know, that's their problem. You know, well, one wants to feel important. Right. And one customer base, you know, needs a certain amount of utility for things that they want to do, right? So even though you're selling the same vehicle in both niches, they are two different niches because the audiences are different. So I think that's a really important point, and you'll see what we mean as we, you know, how this relates to the speaking industry, you know, as well, you know, over this lecture.
Yep, I agree with Lawrence wholeheartedly. Okay, Lawrence, let's keep moving. Any questions? Y'all got questions? Let us know. I see something here. Hold on, let me check. I'm gonna check the Q&A real quick while we're moving on. Okay, I see everybody's questions here. The ones that are asking me about on YouTube, we're gonna circle back around in those. Okay, we'll circle back around. Okay, so I see your questions. I was just looking for something something that related to this right now. And I see one right there. Dennis is asking about who creates the market. Now that's an interesting question. So what do you so to me, the market itself is created typically by supply and demand, you know, which is a consumer thing. So, you know what, y'all gonna test our brain power here. I'm ready to go. So if we want to get into economies, you know, my favorite destination.
I don't even want to get into economies because this is a great question. This is a very, very deep question in terms of who creates the market, because you hear the market this, the market that, right? Yep. Especially if you watch CNBC or something, you know, something along those lines. And the market is really just a collection of individual customers, right? And then in addition to that, the desires of those customers is what actually creates the market for products and services, right? So you have to desire something, you have to want something, for a market to actually be created on one end, right? And then on the other end, you have to have someone who wants to supply what it is that you want, right? So if you don't have neither one of those two situations, you don't have a market. So you need both a buyer and a seller to create a market.
I agree. And Ramon, you're right. You can create a market that wasn't there before. Hello, Steve Jobs.
Yeah, and that's about latent demand. So taking the latent desires of things that people didn't think that they wanted, or they didn't know that they wanted, those desires that they didn't know that they wanted, and you telling them, and you're sharing with them, like, look, here is something, that you actually wanted. And you give it to them, and then that's when a market is created. In customer or avatar analyzer, take that course. We're going to talk about buyer personas and avatars in this, tonight in a couple of slides. But take Julian's course in your packet about analyzing avatars, because he said something that was really valuable, something to the effect of, when you can articulate the problems of your customer better than they can, that's when you can automatically generate a sale. And that's when you are very adept at changing someone's desire into demand when you can do that.
Mm-hmm. And just so you all know, Steve Jobs and the technology experts, they're not the only people that create new markets. Subject matter experts, professional speakers, we create new markets for people all the time. Until Anthony Robbins started doing the late night infomercials about how you're looking for personal power and you need to make your life so much better. People didn't know they needed a life coach. They didn't know that. The life coach was invented by somebody in the expert empire. People didn't know, the online courses and things of this nature. The expert industry had a big hand in saying, let's generate a new market over here. Sure, there was technology there because the technology had to be available, but the information had to go along with that as well that they could use to fill that. So just keep in mind. Boy, I wish I came across something and I looked up and I invented a new market. Boy, I would be so happy. I would be so happy. But the good news is you don't have to invent an entirely new market to make a lot of money. That's good news for everybody that's listening right now, okay? Jane wanted to know, what is Boyce's niche and what's his brand?
We'll get into that. Let's get into that after we discuss the areas of a niche, and we can use Boyce as an example.
Yep. Okay. So your niche is important, obviously, and we keep stressing it over and over again, is because it's a competitive marketplace. And my thing is, you want to try to cut through all the noise, everything that's going on, and get down to earning a profit as soon as possible. And so my thing is about your niche is that I always say Dunkin' Nugget number 245, focus. That's what a niche basically is. It's a type of extreme focus. And focus is difficult to achieve because it requires sacrifice. People always feel like, oh, God, but if I'm focused on this, I'm going to miss that over there. No, listen, that's the only way you sharpen a knife. You sharpen a knife by grinding off pieces of the knife. It's like I'm getting a sharper and sharper edge, which is if I'm trying to cut through the bush or the jungle, or I'm trying to cut down a tree or whatever represents the market in your mind, I need a sharper edge so I can cut through and get to people's attention so that I can make my offer so that quicker we can get them to buy. So I hope you understand why niche is important, because niche is where you get your edge. It helps give you that focus inside of the market so that you can cut through all the noise and cut through the competition and start finding out exactly where you are and get closer to your profits. All right. So the thing that about a niche is it will get you focusing on the right areas, but it also saves you a ton of money from running around all over the place, and save you a ton of time from running around from topic to topic or hopping around from audience to audience. Now, let me be careful. That does not mean that you're not going to be exploring. And I told Lawrence I wanted to make sure we said this, and I don't know where it comes in the slide, but I'm going to say it right now. We want to, you're going to hear say it several times, it's not like you just automatically jump up and the first niche you pick or the first thing you think is your niche doesn't need to be developed or worked on. If this could be an ongoing process for you. Okay, so if your wheels are turning, you're sitting up here thinking like, I'm not quite sure what mine is. I think I got it. I don't have it. Or you're sitting here thinking like, but I got my niche. I just don't got the gigs yet. I got my niche. I don't have the sales yet. Don't worry. We're going to talk about that. Okay, let's keep moving, Lawrence.
Yeah.
All right. So as we told you all, based on the definition of a niche, there are 3 pillars of a profitable niche. All right. The first thing are, your audience. We got your areas of credible expertise. We have your offers and your method of delivery or your methods of delivery. Okay. So this audience is real simple. Who are your most ideal buyer personas? And you'll hear this term a lot. Buyer personas. That's the term I first came across. And Lawrence, I remember years ago, Lawrence and I we were talking about this, trying to figure out how do you figure out exactly who your buyer is. And that's when we started discovering the term buyer persona. Well, there's another term that means exactly the same thing that's also very popular. Doesn't matter which one you use. Some people call them customer avatars. So in case you're wondering, a buyer persona and a customer avatar are the exact same thing. It's just a representation of your ideal person in your audience or your ideal customer or client. Areas of credible expertise, that is not only what areas do you have expertise in and a great deal of experience, but what areas do you have credibility? And credibility is key. Let me tell you, the only thing in the industry that trumps or takes over or really can circumvent or go beyond credibility to me might be celebrity. Celebrity is a whole different ball game. If you're a celebrity, man, people just sometimes they take you at your word. They don't care what you say. They just want to be next to you. They don't even care. So celebrity is a whole different phenomenon. But for most of us, and when people are getting to know, like, and trust us, what they're looking for is credibility. And it's true, because if you bring an expert witness into a court of law, what's the first thing the opposition tries to do? They try to discredit or kill the credibility of the expert. So an expert with no credibility is dead, useless. You got to have credibility, okay? The other thing are your offers and your method of delivery. What are you offering? And is it are you offering it in the best method, the best package that's going to really solve your customers' problems? So there go the 3 pillars of a profitable niche. So let's dig into them and really explain how you all can build this thing right here.
Yeah. And, if you learn this and just, take it to heart, you can solve any problem in terms of, where you should be operating, right? Because, for example, this is important to me because I've been using this model as we go into the real estate market, for the Black Business School, right? In terms of real estate education and training. So the next courses that will be coming out for the Black Business School will have a lot to do with, the real estate industry. And I'm using this model right here, going through this model right here in the tools that we'll show you on future slides to find the right experts to bring to you all. So we can, add value to your lives in terms of, financial future, right, for you and your family. And this is the model that I use, right? So don't think we just kind of throw this up here. It took us, hours upon hours to develop this little simple model. And it's really that powerful. So I just wanted to share that with you guys.
Yeah, it really did take us a while to figure this out because, as I told you all, a lot of times what happens is and especially for me, 18 years in the game, I learned so much by trial and error. So please understand, I'm not saying that the whole time I was in business and I was building and finding my niches or the whole time I knew Lawrence and Boyce and Julian, that they all had all of this worked out. What we're doing is we've realized this is what successful people in the expert industry do. And we started realizing one way or another, if you're successful, you probably stumbled into this particular process right here. Okay, so let's jump into part 2. That is how you really discover. How do you start to figure out what it is and how do you build it? So the first thing to start with is your audience. And for audience, we're not just talking about who you want to talk to. We're talking about really having a detailed idea of being able to describe your your ideal customer or client in a lot of great detail. And you may have more than one buyer persona. Now, there's ways you figure out your buyer personas. Okay, and I've done all of these. The one I did a lot at first was the interview. That's because SurveyMonkey wasn't out yet. Okay, so I spent a lot of time doing interviews once I started realizing, okay, I'm running my mouth. I'm doing a whole lot of talking and telling, but they're not, something is wrong. Either I don't understand what they want or I'm missing this thing here, especially in the youth market. I just kept missing it. Nobody's bringing me in. They weren't bringing me in, but they bringing other people in, you know, and it was hurtful when you look up and like, oh, first you're thinking, well, this school just don't have no money, right? Then you realize, no, they just don't have money for me, right? The thing tears you up and you're like, hold on, I need to adjust. So one of the most powerful things you can do is just interview. Informal interviews, formal interviews. You can send somebody 5 questions. You can, and I don't mean survey, I mean like interview, like you're gonna call somebody, talk to them, or you can send 5 questions and y'all going back and forth discussing the questions. But I used to say to a lot of principals, a lot of campus activity directors, even to parents, I used to talk, and the number one, when I really started taking off for me is when I stopped talking to all of them and I started talking to students. I used to be like, listen, help me understand what makes you pay attention during a presentation, or how come that speaker wasn't boring but this one was, or what made this speaker excited? Well, I know what they said y'all should learn about the college process, but what do you want to learn? And so when I started asking and finding the answers to these questions, all of a sudden I started having little buyer personas, and I used to name mine. Sally student. you know what I'm saying? Cool dude, Drew, and crazy stuff like that. I used to name mine, really, and I would describe them. This is students, a senior in high school. You know, he probably wears his backpack on both shoulders. I mean, I used to get that detail, really, once I started understanding this concept and trying to imagine who this particular person is that's going to buy the book, listen to me, or who's going to be in the audience when I'm speaking. And what I wanted to know is their buying habits. What do they spend money on? And not just money. Let me give you all something else. Not just what do they spend money on, what do they spend their attention on? What do they spend their time on? Especially when you're dealing with students or anybody, you're like, well, I don't know if this person is in particular is going to spend the money, but somebody else is going to get it for him or her. So not just what do they spend their money on, what do they spend time, and what do they spend their attention on? That will really help you dig into that. So you got the interview, you got the survey, you have the ask campaign, and you have the experiment. Lawrence, tell them some of these that you've been using also. I know, I know y'all ran through all of them.
Yeah, we use every single one of these tools, right? And in future lectures, we'll go deeper into each one of these different tools because really you can do an entire masterclass lecture on just the interview or on just a survey, on just the ask campaign, on just the experiment. So for example, with the survey, we use the ask method, or we use, I guess it's the ask method by Ryan Levesque, personally, right? But each one of these things can have its own lecture, like seriously, its own hour and a half lecture. But we use all of them when we do work with the Black Business School. The interview. So for example, with like the Freedom Family, the program that, we launched through the Black Business School that Julian also runs. I interviewed maybe like 20 or 30 members of the Freedom Family, just to kind of break them down in terms of, who they are and, why they're in the Freedom Family. Interview other customers within the Black Business School, usually for about 15, 30 minutes, and really asking them why, what motivates them. What are they afraid of? What do they care about? What are their main challenges? What are their problems? Like really going in deep into the questioning of them. And usually actually the interview is a lot of that comes from the survey. So I'll survey them first and then go over and interview the people, I think that may have the most interesting type of answers that can provide the most insight. But the entire buyer personas of the Black Business School, we have many buyer personas. But they're broken down to 3 categories. We have our traditionalists, we have our freemen, and we have our rebuilders, right? So traditionalists are people with 9-to-5 corporate jobs or academic jobs who make most of the money from working some type of corporate, some type of corporate gig or whatever. They want freedom for their family, but some of them want to get off the quote unquote corporate plantation, but many of them want to stay and just have something better for their children. So we use that information to shape our Black Millionaires Tomorrow programs. You have your rebuilders who may have had some big type of financial setback that could be due to health, that could be due to poor money management, credit card, that could be due to a lot of different things. And then what they want is to get back on their financial track, and a lot of them feel like it's too late for them to do so. So they want to give up. The third group of people are free men, or people who have already escaped and are on their own. They don't have a corporation backing them. But, what it is that they want is, the freemen, they want to take it to the next level. It's like, I'm free, now what? So we help them answer the now what question in terms of how to make most of their financial freedom, or their independence. I should say their independence from, the corporate or the academic backing that they had before. So that's just all that information that I was talking about came from the interview, the survey experiments. We'll run ads. We'll talk about this more too. We'll run ads on Facebook. We'll put up landing pages to see how many people go to the landing pages and sign up for what it is that we want them to sign up for. And then if we get a lot of people who want that particular thing, we'll go ahead and produce it. We'll go ahead and make it.
Mm-hmm. And here's the thing. So what you're looking for is a template with a set of questions that you consistently ask. Okay. Now you're like, where do we get this template from, Al? Don't worry about it. We're going to put one up for you, but you're already part of the Experts Empire anyway. And Julian has one. If I'm correct, Lawrence, doesn't he have a question there? All right.
So yeah, he does. Yep.
So you all aren't taking all the courses at the same time, but this is why we do this together. And what we'll do is, since you're not, for those of you not taking Julian's course right now, you're taking ours. What we'll do is, Julian, he don't have no problem with sharing with us. We're going to get the link or the PDF for his customer avatar questionnaire. And what it is that this is what you do. You fill it out. I got them. I have some myself. You fill them out and you answer the questions. And before you know it, you have a profile on your ideal customer. And you look up and you'll have 1, 2, or 3 of them, and most of the time 2 or 3 is good enough. But as your market share expands, or you start branching out into sub niches or find a totally new one, then you'll get additional buyer personas. What do you mean by that, Al? Well, that's what I mean. I'm saying before, I had student buyer personas. Okay, so I had to see what students are looking for. But of course, then I had some for parents, because parents buy stuff and they recommend things. So I need to know what parents in the audience, right? Then I had some that represented the educators. I thought I was good enough right there. I said, okay, the educators. Then somebody pulled my coattail and said, no, you need administrators too. They're different than just educators. They got similar problems with a different set of problems. I mean, administrators are like principals, assistant principals, superintendents. One of the most best things I ever did was make a buyer persona on a superintendent, man. When they start calling you and say, we want you to talk to all the schools in the school district, man, like I was so happy. I can't even explain it to you. And I didn't know that at first. I was busy thinking, okay, I got to go talk to the principal and counselors only. I'm giving y'all some jewels here for people in the youth market. I started realizing I need to know some superintendents too. They send you the whole school district at one time, okay? Or I need to learn who campus activity directors are, but not just them. I need to know who the whole VP of student affairs is. So what happens is you start creating these buyer personas, right? So there's my main market, where my niche where I was building out, right? But then there is, hey, okay, so now we're doing great pro speakers. Hey, what kind of people are over here? You got your beginning speaker, the one who's just getting started, not sure exactly what's going on and needs the whole thing. Then you got the intermediate level speakers. Okay, what are they like? What are their needs? How do you break down information for him or her? And you got some advanced speakers that come looking around and say, hey, I'm not sure if this course is for me or not, but I'm open if you can convince me. And so buyer personas are always being generated and created. And for me, I do my best, and we tell y'all the truth. Lawrence and Julian are better than me. And what I mean by this is just y'all get your own style. I have some of those templates filled out, but I got a lot more floating around in my brain than I actually took the time to fill out. I'm just going to tell you real talk. You will find your own style, but I know the people in my markets and who's using my products and stuff, and I can run it down to them. I'm just sometimes lazy. I'm telling y'all, man, I can't be filling out all these forms. It drives me nuts sometimes. And so you'll find your own style of whether or not you need to create a persona for each individual one, or if you're the type of person that says, no, I got this, you know, it's okay. It's
and this is my favorite part of the entire process, right? So this is where I would spend all my time if I could. It's just doing this work right here in terms of discovering niches and buyer personas and putting together offers like that type of stuff. So, and you'll find what you're passionate about and where you want to spend a lot of your time too.
Yep. And you notice we spent a lot of time on this slide on purpose because this is the whole ask and listen side of things. I'm telling you, this is where the gold mine is. This is if you spend most of your time asking and listening and really understanding the problems and solutions and the desires and and the latent desires of your audience, that is where things begin to reveal themselves to you. Okay, so we spent a lot of time on this slide on purpose. You notice we didn't even get to your areas of credit expertise in the offers, and we're getting ready to get to that now. But this right here, if I had to pick the one I made the biggest mistake on, it would be this one right here. That's because every course I took kept telling me, this is how you write your book in 30 days. That's wonderful. Except that I wrote the book in 30 days before I found out if anybody wanted the thing. I got plenty of, I wrote this book one time, it got 5,000 copies of the thing, and I still got them. Listen, one book, I'm telling y'all, this thing's crazy. I have sold tens and tens and tens of thousands of books, trust me, but not of this one. This thing is still in there because you know why? It was some compilation book and nobody wanted the thing, man. And I should have did more time asking and listening before I spent all this money getting 5,000 copies of a book that I couldn't sell. I ended up having to give the thing free, give it away free as part of a package. So I'm stressing this again. Ask and listen a lot. This is where you get to separate yourself from everybody else. Okay, Lawrence.
Love it. If you got any questions or comments, go ahead and post them in the chat or your questions in the Q&A. All right, perfect.
There's some over here. You know what? And somebody's asking how to use the methods of delivery. We're going to get into that in 1 second. So I see all the questions over here. And somebody said, great time. We read your mind. That's cool. So we see your questions. We're going to come around and answer them all. Don't worry.
Are you guys still with us in terms of what we're talking about?
They're there. I can see them. Yeah, they typing questions. There we go. They're here. Okay, let's roll.
All right, perfect.
All right, so questions to discover your area of expertise. There's some right here. What do I think are the skills that I do better than everyone that I know? That's a good. That's a great question to ask. Okay, what are the things that others tell me I do better than the rest of the world? That's good too. What group of people do I think will pay for my expertise? All of this is great. All of those questions are good. Okay, and here's my thing. It's not even on the screen, but here's the $1 million question. Okay, here's the $1 million question. I don't care what the answers are to these first three or to any other ones we're getting ready to give you. The $1 million question is, how can I prove that to somebody that's interested that I want to make an offer to? Let me say this again. How do I prove or justify all of that to someone or some audience that I want to make an offer to? You say, I'm an expert at youth development. Oh, yeah? Prove it. Hey, over the last 18 years, I've spoken to over 1.5 million students, educators, and parents. That's great, Al Duncan, for you. But how did you prove that before you did all of that? And now we get into the problem that a lot of beginner and intermediate speakers have, and that is you say you're an expert, but where's the proof? Now, of course, part of the proof is, did you write the book? I'm not saying you have to write a book, but did you write a book? Have you written a whole bunch of articles? Do you have a program on this? That's one way to start beginning to build credible expertise. Somebody says, what about my degree? Is a degree an area of credible expertise? Yes. Okay, let me say that. I want to say yes, and it depends. And what I mean by that is, unfortunately, in the eyes, and this is what they found out, really in the eyes of the general public, normally the areas of what they consider the highest levels of expertise, for some reason, they just default position is book and doctorate degree or some advanced level of degree.
But I say it has to be an advanced level degree.
That's what I was going to say. Advanced, right? Go ahead, Lawrence. Advanced. We talking like JD, doctorate degree, maybe MBA type stuff.
MBA,
right?
MBA is a little but definitely like an MD, PhD, those types of things, right? Yep. So Boyce's calling card in terms of area of credible expertise as a finance guy is he has a PhD in finance, right?
Yep.
From Ohio State University. And then, there we go. Things like MBAs, they become more valuable if you have another brand associated with them that everyone knows. Like Julian has an MBA from Stanford. That's the area of credible expertise because he has the MBA from the top business school in the country, for example. So that's where I guess the degrees kind of come into play. Now, if you don't worry about it because I think this is why I think you should go watch the Avatar Analyzer class too. Is Julian goes deep in terms of the transformation of someone else's life, right? In terms of that being a way to generate that expertise and show proof that Al is talking about. You can show that proof by helping someone in your target market or your potential target market solve their problem and documenting that and having them tell the world that, hey, you're the person who helped them solve this particular problem, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So that relates to your ACE as well and also relates to your buyer persona.
Yep. Somebody wrote down testimonials. I agree with that. That's third-party verification. That's a wonderful way. Absolutely. But I'll give y'all more. Can your life experience help give you the credibility to verify your expertise? If it's powerful life experience, I'm going to say yes. Let me tell you something. The first time they started asking me to come talk to youth was when they heard I raised my youngest brother. They said, you did what? You were 24 and you took a 12-year-old, bagger, basically, right? A 12-year-old gangster, and you brought him to a new city, got him on the right track, and helped raise him to become a successful young man. Hey, we want to hear what you got to say. We want you to come talk to our other young men. Now, I had no degree. There's no I got no child psychology degree, none of this stuff. Don't have any of that stuff. But for some reason, I didn't realize it. I didn't know this at first. I don't want y'all to think I knew that me telling my brother's story. Actually, I did not tell my brother's story at first because I didn't understand how much credibility that would lend. I used to tell a story about me growing up in the hood, talk about my dad having problems, substance abuse problems and how he beat that. I talked about my struggles in school. But, man, I swear, when I started talking about what I did for my little brother, things changed. I'm going to tell y'all something else that changed for me. I couldn't believe it. Another area of experience that I overlooked for a long time until I started talking about it one day, and somebody started saying, hey, man, we want you to come in and talk to our managers. You know what they said that? The reason they said it is because when they found out I was an executive chef and the main group of employees that I had were college students looking for jobs in the summer, high school students that were coming to work after school, and a lot of people who were in transition, a lot of young people. And this particular restaurant that I worked for also had a program where they used to hire young people that were a re-entry program. So they had been arrested for something, and they were now re-entering into the market. And I was there. I was there working with them, getting them to come to work, getting them to do what they needed to do, having pep talks in the morning, talking to them. And I did not realize that, this experience has given me a lot of credibility for dealing with young people and young professionals. And all of a sudden, stuff started coming together where it was like, oh, no, we don't want you to talk to our students. No, we want you to come talk. Hold on. No, not just to the teachers either. No, they just say, hey, listen, we want you, Al Duncan, Pricewaterhouse Coopers, we want you to come talk to our managers. We want you to talk to all the managers that's managing millennials or young people in the market. Come talk to them, please. So all of a sudden, I started getting this credibility. And the cool thing about it is that type of credibility, when you start getting that, it starts to snowball. it just piles on top of it. It's just more and more and more. You become more and more and more and more credible. Boyce is credible far beyond his doctorate degree now. He can say doctorate degree. That's great when people don't know him. But the Black Business School, the thousands of videos, the thousands of articles, the thousands of books sold, the TV interviews, the successful testimonials and all that stuff, that's way area of credible expertise, way bigger than doctorate degree. So it starts to
credibility piece. Yep. Yeah.
Yes, the credibility piece. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And we talk about that too. And this is the last thing I'll say on it is we've talked extensively over the years, me and Al, the difference between expertise and experience.
Yes.
Right. You know, expertise being something that you've usually learned in some type of formal setting by studying. Right. So I read everything. So when I read that stuff, I become more and more of an expert on a particular subject or a particular field. However, experience comes from actually doing, actually getting it down into the trenches and actually, doing stuff to add value to other people's lives, that type of thing. So there's expertise and, experience like what Al's talking about. He didn't get a degree in terms of child psychology, of at-risk youth or anything like that, but he had the experience of raising his little brother versus having someone with a doctorate degree who has expertise in that particular subject.
Yep, and I also, I told you all this before, I went and volunteered at the YMCA. So now I'm running a youth program at the Y. So once again, I'm getting expertise. The Y sent me to take youth development certifications. I got certified in the Y's program. They had programs for that. And so there are different ways. And I'm saying all this for my people on the line who either A, might not have as much education as you think you need. That's okay. In the expert industry, especially professional speaking, you will be surprised at the number of people who don't have degrees or don't have advanced degrees in what they're talking about. Okay, and there's always ways to build your to build up your area of credible expertise, and it translates into everything else. I'll give y'all a story outside of me. One of the best stories, one of the stories that gave me inspiration when I first heard it was Dan Poynter. I don't know if y'all know who Dan Poynter is, okay, but he's quote unquote the self-publishing guru. Dan Poynter, right? Watch what happens. And this is how he was asking and listening without even knowing it, and then became a credible expert without even really knowing it. Dan Poynter was looking for a book on parachuting, okay? He's parachuting, wanted to learn more about parachuting, so he went to look for a book on parachuting. He could not find one at all. I'm talking about could not find one. So what he's doing is now he is in the role of his own audience or his own buyer persona. Because I got a problem. I want a book on parachuting. It doesn't exist. For some reason, I don't know where he got the bright idea. He went and started researching all the information he could on parachuting, started putting it all together, and then wrote his own book on parachuting and ran into another problem. Nobody wanted to publish it. So you know what he did? He published it himself. So now all of a sudden, he has moved from asking and listening is a problem that I hear that other people have to have. It can't be just me looking for a book on parachuting. He took it, wrote the book, then became a credible expert because he's putting all this information together. He's learning, I had no degree in parachuting, but he got all the research, put it together in one place, wrote the book. He's a credible expert now. Now it's an area of credible expertise for him, not just parachuting. But what he didn't realize is that process also created another area of credible expertise for him, and that was self-publishing, because he went out and published the book himself. He had to learn all of that. While he was learning all of that, he kept all the research. He took that research, put that in the book. Not only did the parachuting book sell, but the publishing book sold even better. And all of a sudden, he had a multi-million-dollar business on self-publishing, because he had all of a sudden wrote this book on parachuting, published it himself, and took the process and took the journey and turned it into a process and sold it back to the market. And I'm telling you, that when I saw that thing right there, then I understood why seeking more knowledge and information and working on your areas of credible expertise tend to give birth to other areas of credible expertise that you didn't even realize you were building on or getting at that point in time. Okay, so I saw some. Oh, how did you get people to know your stories? That's what you're asking me, Dennis. So what happens is, when I say people. I don't mean random people, like people just out. I'm talking about when I would be up speaking in front of audiences, or when I was mentoring people and I was sharing, and I started sharing my story, people started asking. And before, this is why it's good to be authentic. This is why I love the videos we were looking at earlier, is because the authenticity that was in there. I was not sharing all the information that I had because nobody had quite explained to me how to mine my experience or mine my expertise to find areas where I was most credible in. And so I would be up and telling stories anywhere, at work when I'm talking to young people, or I would be in the neighborhood talking to my little brother, and I would be talking to some other parent who was asking me about her child over there, and I just start sharing my story. And most importantly, when I was giving little talks, that is, I was out thinking I was going to do a talk on sales, I started talking about my little brother, because I started realizing, you know what, I'm out trying to sell him on new opportunities, and I'm out trying to sell myself on a job in an industry that I had never been in before. That was a hospitality industry. So I started forming it and bending that thing back into how it relates to what I was talking about. And before I knew it, more and more people would find out about my story, and that's what they would gravitate towards. And whatever your audience starts to gravitate towards, that's fine. Give it to them. If that's what they want, give it to them. They will be happy. I saw Janet just type this in and said she sent out an email to her audience to tell them that what she did for them and what she thought was important wasn't, and what she thought didn't matter was what was really in there, touched their hearts and minds. And I had the same experience. So this is why you got to really ask and listen so much.
Yeah, and you know what? There's something I forgot to mention earlier, and Janice reminded me to make this point. Whenever you're doing an interview or definitely a survey, here's the most important question that you need to ask. What's the number one challenge that you are facing while trying to do X, Y, and Z? In every survey that we do starts out with that one particular question, because
y'all wrote that down.
Yeah, because this entire course, in terms of the lectures, is based upon that one question, or mainly based upon that one question. There are other questions that we ask a little later. But what's the number one, for example, this course, what's the number one challenge that you are facing that's keeping you from becoming a professional speaker, right? So we took all of those answers, and from those answers, this is how this course was developed. Now you can do that with in-person interviews. You can do that through survey. And if you don't have your own audience, because we have a large audience, so we get a lot of answers really quickly. If you don't have your own audience, a way to do this is to ask someone who may have an audience, right? Or go on a podcast or some type of interview and ask the audience why you're doing that. You know what I mean? But if you have a friend who has a large audience, or not even a large audience, just any type of audience, do it that way. You can actually also, there are services that you can pay for answers to something like that. Now, it's not as reliable as, the other methods in terms of, directly talking to your particular audience, but it's a way for you to get just initial research to get you started, as you continue to learn.
I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Jovina, yes, this is recorded, Jovina, and available later. I'm sorry, Al, go ahead.
No, yeah, that's fine. And I'm just piggybacking on you and agreeing that absolutely, that's a great question to ask. And once I started asking that question across the board to just about anybody, I would ask all the time. Let me tell y'all, man, I tell young people that similar style questions are good to even ask when they say, do you have any questions for us in a job interview? Or I'm always saying, listen, flip it back on them and say, what makes someone an ideal fit, for this position? Or what are some of the main challenges people that your company may be experiencing? I read this. Is this true? These are things people love to, let me tell you, you know why? Because people love to tell you about their problems. They love to tell you about the drama and the problems. They will love you if you start asking them what's wrong.
Yeah. No, you're right. I love talking about the challenges. Someone's here and saying, what challenge did you have about whatever problem? And I care about solving that problem. I will talk their ear off if they can help me solve my problem.
Yeah, okay, good. All right, so moving along, that's good. Somebody said that's exactly how I got my first contract. Nice. All right, so how to determine your offers and methods of delivery. Listen, now we're going to talk about this because this right here, I don't know, some of y'all on this, some of y'all listening are like me, But I swear, when I was ready to get started, for me, this is all I pretty much cared about. Because I thought that as long as I had something to sell, if I knew what book and y'all told me how to make it and which one I need to sell them, I'm going to be great. So as we dig into this, I'm going to just give you a friendly little reminder. We keep telling you, spend more time, especially at the beginning and intermediate levels. And matter of fact, I would say, period, even at the advanced levels, spend more time asking and listening, okay? Because asking and listening very easily leads back to how to determine your offers and methods of delivery. And who should you ask, who should you be asking and listening to? Well, Lawrence, come on, jump in here, because right here is where we want to talk about some of this. And Lawrence, I like the way he breaks this down because, I have done this, but Lawrence actually came across this thing of this whole identify your dream 100. Go ahead and break that down for him, Lawrence.
Yeah, and before I do that, I want to mention that this piece of finding your niche is often overlooked because it's taken as an assumption. The assumption is the fact that you're in the speaking industry, for example, so that is going to be your method of delivery. So most people, not even most, but they don't even think about this piece of the puzzle. But I want to turn your mindset from just being a professional speaker, right, or a public speaker, to being that of an expert, right? So when you have that mindset shift and use public speaking as just a method of delivery instead of, that's your identity, it's a method of delivery of, transference of information and transference of emotion to your audience. That is very, very, very powerful. And it opens up many more opportunities for you to monetize your mind and monetize your expertise. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to this, this slide in particular, in terms of identifying your dream 100. Now, this is a concept that I've kind of done intuitively for many, many years. It's one of my favorite things to actually do. I didn't really learn about the formal process of this until I started following Russell Brunson of ClickFunnels. And he talks about this, very extensively. So ClickFunnels is a landing page building software, but Russell Brunson has done a marvelous job and has grown it to be $100 million, company in not that many years of existence. But he learned it from a guy named Chet Holmes of The Ultimate Sales Machine. So what you do with this is very powerful. And I'm doing this right now in the real estate space, right? So the stuff that we talk about doing, we both Al and I do this as well.
Absolutely.
And we did this for this program too, right? For, putting together Black Experts Empire. Identify those dream people that you will want to be connected with. Like, who are the people, once you know generally who your audience is, your credible expertise, who are the people who inspire you? Who are the brands that you admire? Even who are the competitors that you admire as well? Now, this could be a lot of different things. It could be influencers. It could be, like I said, potential competitors. It could be brands. They could be books. I do books all of the time. Like, you'll see me on Amazon. Like, you just saw me last weekend, right? I was just searching on Amazon about real estate because I was looking for a book, and one book in particular to get me started in terms of, like, what's a book that outlines the entire industry. That's what I was looking for. That gives me an overview of the entire industry. But through that process, I came across dozens of authors, dozens of books, websites, podcasts, all of those different types of things. And then what happens is, once you have that research, you'll come back in and you'll mine the market. That's what Al calls it, and I definitely agree. But you'll mine the market and see what's actually being purchased and why people are purchasing those things, because that gives you the filter. Because what you do here is with the Dream 100, you're expanding outwards, right? You're expanding outwards. You're just trying to see what else is out here that people may want or that people are resonating with. But then when you're mining the market, you are filtering back inwards. And through that filtering back inwards, when you mix that with your areas of credible expertise in your marketplace, that's when you can start developing your methods of delivery in terms of what is the best method or methods for you to deliver the solution of the problem that your customer is now facing, right? So this is a very powerful tool that you can use to really start thinking about your offers, right? And start thinking about what's out there. So that you can, because, I always says we don't copy, but we definitely do try to model, right? You know, we want to model other people in terms of the success that they've had, so that we can, you know, have similar type of success, and then think about the customer's problem in a unique way. And you know, I guess a big piece of creating an offer is not necessarily creating something new all the time. It's creating a new combination of things that can solve a customer's problem.
Yep, I agree with that wholeheartedly. And when you start identifying your Dream 100 and you want to talk to them, this is something I did intuitively as well. I had a whole list of superintendents, had a list of VPs of academic, of student affairs. I had, at one point in time, I had a list of all the youth achievers of the year from the YMCA. I had a list of all the youth of the year from the Boys and Girls Clubs. I had all kinds of, so I used to just be thinking like, look here, man, who can I learn from? And listen, I wasn't, when we say finding your Dream 100, I wasn't necessarily always calling them looking to ask for a gig. You can't, listen, this is one of my networking rules. I'll give it to y'all. Don't always show up with your hand out, okay? You show up looking to help out. That's one of my Dunkin' Nuggets right there when it comes to networking. Nobody like networking with somebody who show up and their hand is out all the time, okay? And so what I used to do is I would call students sometimes, hey, listen, man, you did something awesome. I like to feature you on my blog. Yeah, I run it all the time. You know what? Teacher of the year. Hey, you know, I heard you were teacher of the year in my district. Can I interview you real quick? This same way a newspaper does, same way anybody else does. And so this is how I started looking for influencers, both and for me, because of my market, I never only focus on the older professionals. I wanted young professionals, students, teens as because they talk. You know, people say, well, who do y'all want to see? What speaker did you like? So I'm trying to help push them forward, help give them some more recognition. I remember one woman brought me in because I contacted her daughter. Her daughter had received this award. I wrote about it. Didn't realize her mom is like is some high up person in the office of the president at this university. And you know what? 2 weeks later, they bring me in to speak. I wasn't even looking for that, but it happened because I ran into this what they call the Dream 100. I got these influencers in there. And so what would happen is that now I got this group of people that I can call. I could email them. I could talk to them. They weren't running from me. You know how it is. Y'all know. Some people, as soon as you see them coming, you start running the other way because they always want something. You know what I mean? So I could email them and they would talk to me. And I tried to make sure it was an even exchange as best as I could. But I'll talk to business industry leaders. I interviewed them for books that I've written. I have just reached out to say, oh, I read this article about you. I like that. You know, there's all types of things you can do if you're doing the Dale Carnegie thing. And that is, if you really got a genuine interest in people, they will talk to you. Not everybody talk to me. Some people tell me get lost. Of course, it's all right. No big deal. Cool. Me and you ain't meant to be friends. That's quite all right with me, okay? We keep it moving. I move on to the next person. But they would. And so once I started getting these influencers and they would talk or they would point opportunities my way or they would say, Al, let me introduce you to so-and-so. You know, and I would say, okay, thanks a lot. I appreciate that. Or they would say, hey, my daughter had this book, or, you know, so-and-so spoke at my school. Do you know that speaker? And so what would happen is that I got incredible insight into not only the audience in my target market, but then what they helped me do is they helped me identify other competitors, but they also helped me see what was moving in the market. Because if I got a superintendent and they started telling me, oh, yeah, Al, you know, we just sent like all our teacher assistants over to get certified on the Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teams, I used to be cringing. I need one of them, right? Because I didn't know I needed that at first. Or one time I found out that, listen, Al, you wasting your time. Audio program, college market, probably not, man. Maybe, but I doubt it. You're better off giving them books. It makes common sense. You're like, I see what's going on. So I started mining the market, going back, looking at the competitors, looking at what the influencers were buying, what offers they found appealing, what speakers they were bringing in, what conferences they went to, what books they were reading, where they were learning, all of this stuff right here. And I just started gathering all of this information, and it helped make my business take a turn towards profit real quick. Okay. So was this on the local area app? It was, and it yes and no. So here we go. Absolutely. I reached out to people that were local. But my thing was, I thought that prophet is not without honor, save in his own land. In other words, so I just found out for me that if I was contacting somebody and I was in Atlanta and I contacted somebody that was way out in Wisconsin, for some reason, this person was like, oh my God, you contacted me? You from a whole other state? I didn't even know you knew who I was. You know what I'm saying? They're already excited. So I used to reach outside of the state, outside of the city a lot. And then what I would do is, especially if I was doing something, I'll tell y'all, especially if I was trying to do a series, if I was trying to talk to a bunch of superintendents, I would go talk to some of the ones out of the state first, and then I would circle back around to the ones in Atlanta, in Georgia, in the area, or, in Tennessee or some that are close to home, because my emails would start off with a whole lot of this. Listen, I've been talking to a lot of superintendents. Recently, I talked to a superintendent from Wisconsin. I talked to this one from over here. And since I live in Atlanta, I'd really like to get your opinion about this. So now I'm using some of that as leverage. You got me? Dennis, you said I'm dangerous. That's funny, man. That is hilarious. So what it is that I am thinking about how to leverage credibility. Once again, that is, if I send you an email and I tell you I've been talking to superintendents already, and 5 of them not even from in-state, guess what? The people in Atlanta, they start going, well, how can you didn't talk to me first? they want to know. So, and then I will reach around and talk to them. So, yeah, a local area is fine. It just depends on how much you want to network. I'm one of those people, I don't mind networking, but I'm not trying to run out and have lunch with everybody. That's just not my thing. So if that's the case, or if you're trying to deal with somebody and your city is large, like Atlanta, and they get 100 emails a day with people who want to take them out to lunch or ask them questions, I don't care. I would much rather have a good, solid relationship with a superintendent or a president at a small college that is very happy to talk to someone like me than to be racking my brain trying to get to the president of Emory. I'll get back around to the president of Emory. I'll get back around to, the president of the Georgia Tech sooner or later, because hopefully my brand and my credibility will carry me there. But in the meantime, I don't have no problem. I'll talk to somebody that's trying to come up like me, because we can help each other. Make sense to you? All right, good.
Love it.
Let's keep.
That's it. Yeah. So, that's the lecture for tonight.
Okay. Hold on. I got some stuff I want to give y'all. Now, before we go, I got some stuff I wrote down. I always like to write down stuff that's not on the slides. Here you go. So while you're working on your niche, I'm going to tell you, here's a phrase you should be able to, that you would like to be able to say. I am one of the only, fill in the blank, the only speakers, authors, youth advocates, financial experts, whatever you're going to say for yourself. I'm one of the only blank that blanks. There we go. Great Pro Speaker is one of the only professional speaking courses that happens online in a 10-week format where you get to ask questions and get them answered right there on the spot. We one of the only ones. This I know for a fact, okay? Great Pro Speakers is one of the only courses on how to become a professional speaker that does not necessarily flaunt every 5 minutes about how much money we made, how much you're going to make. What we specialize in is giving you the fundamentals and making sure you can have them to build your business through a recession, during a recession, and come out on the other side of the recession still making money. That's what we do. This I know for a fact, okay? We're one of the only courses that has partnered with 2 other experts who got super sharp brands and put them all into one master class. So you end up having 30 weeks of master classes over the course of a year and 52 weeks, well, we'll say about 48 weeks of hot seats. We're one of the only ones. This I know for a fact. So if you cannot say that about yourself, if you can't say I'm one of the only blank, or my business is one of the only blank that blanks, you ain't got to be the only one. That's usually not a good idea. If you're the only one, unless you just happen to be first, I usually get a little worried. Because if you're the only one, I'm like, well, how come nobody else wants to make money where you are? Like, I usually get worried about that. So you should be one of the only one. That's a good way to describe that. Write that phrase down, okay? I'll give you something else. Here's another good one. This is for speakers. The meeting planner or an event planner calls you, and they're trying to put between you and a list of 5 other speakers, right? You should have an answer to this in your mind. Stuff like this should roll off your tongue. And it is, why should we hire you or bring you in or buy your book or whatever? Why should we hire you instead of bringing in so-and-so or these other 5 speakers? And here's the secret to that. You should be able to answer that without putting down your other peers. I learned that real quick. I don't need to put down any of my peers. I had a lady call me one time and said, listen, we're taking a look at you. She's from the Army Reserve. They had the youth program. Said, listen, we're thinking about bringing you in, but you know, we're taking a look at Jeff Yalden too. And you know, he got MTV coach. Why should we bring you in? Who are you? Now, this is my perfect chance for me, if I was dumb, to get in there and start talking about, oh, how much better I am than Jeff Yalden, and he can't do what I'm doing. I ain't said none of that. What I said very quickly, I said, you know what? Jeff Yalden is awesome, has a great reputation. The reason you should bring me in is because students appreciate hearing from speakers that are like them. This means that I'm not a superstar. I don't have a TV show. I'm an ordinary dude, and I ain't no celebrity, but I'll be a celebrity when I leave. That's what I told her. And she started laughing and then started saying, well, what do you talk about? What do you give them? And we got to the conversation. I got the gig, okay? So I didn't need to put him down, but I clearly knew what the difference is between me and him. I knew it, and I got a chance to focus on that and talk about it. So if you want to ask me, people will say, how do you really know when I got my niche down? When you can say things like that, when you can distinguish yourself and delineate yourself from other people in the market without necessarily having to put them down, but you can clearly demonstrate differences quickly off the top of your head, regardless of who they're comparing you to, regardless of who they're comparing your product or service to, then then a couple things have happened. If you haven't begun to generate the profits you want to, you're in the right direction. And you also have done a great job of asking and listening to your audience, because you understand that no one speaker can solve every problem and fulfill every desire of any audience. So I don't care what speaker, what expert you talk to or who they are, if you compare them to you, you should be able to have an angle of how I offer a slightly different solution or a different perspective or a different way of looking at it. And once you have these things, then you begin to know that, you know what, I'm really starting to get this niche thing together. And I'm telling y'all, I am one of the only blank that can blank. You should be writing this stuff down. And why should we hire you instead of bringing in so-and-so? Okay, so.
Yeah, we're going to get in. Yeah, we have a lecture dedicated to that too in terms of messaging, right? When you're talking about, developing your message and differentiating your message, from others. We're going to talk all about that. I believe actually next week. I think that's next week's lecture. So.
Yep. Okay, so let's get into some of these questions. I'm gonna jump on Ramon's because there's on the screen.
And if you have questions, please go ahead and place them in the Q&A and not the chat, because we can only see the chat for so long. So the Q&A is the better place to put questions if you have them.
Yep. So Mary Jo, can you copy yours? Because we're going to get around to good cameras and equipment and all that stuff. And I see Ramona's over here, so I'm going to answer yours since I see it, and then I'm going to open up the Q&A panel. We can answer those too. How do you use the MOD, the methods of delivery? Okay, is it to offer an alternative way to problem solve for your customer? Here's the deal. Methods of delivery simply mean this. It is, how are you going to package your information? How are you going to package it in the most valuable, expedient, easy-to-use manner for your particular customer avatar or your buyer persona? That's all we mean by methods of delivery. You can't get caught up in the thinking that the only way for me to get my information to this group is to give a keynote or to give a workshop or to give a half-day seminar. No, it might be to give a webinar. We could have easily did this as a live boot camp. We could have, but you know what? There's dozens and dozens of other live boot camp, how to become professional speaker courses. We don't see a lot of well thought out, well delivered, online courses that you can take at your convenience and go back and watch them and get your questions answered. So for us, this was a better MOD based on the surveys that Lawrence was taking, and based on plus, and we're allowed to do this, based on what we wanted for our lifestyles. Can y'all imagine if we had to put this thing together? Lawrence is in Columbia. I'm in Atlanta. Okay, now we got to put together a boot camp and get y'all from all over wherever y'all at, right? And get y'all together and do this thing. Now let's think about that. Can we run that for 10 weeks? No. We got to do a 1 day or 2 day or 4 day thing. For us, the wealth of information that we had, and one of the main problems that we realized was that there's not enough ongoing support after you get that initial jolt of information. I've been to, I can't tell you how many full-day seminar or 3-day boot camps I've been to on the expert industry or professional speaking. They give you this great data dump. I don't knock it. I got a lot of good information from some of those courses, from some of them. I'll go home, 5 weeks later, man, this stuff is spinning in my head. I don't know if I use it, if I can remember it. Gotta go get the manual, look through it. That's not gonna happen to you here, okay? So when we're looking at MODs, that is just how do you package and deliver your information. I know you're a speaker, and that's why you're here in this course, because you want to speak. You love to get up in front of the room and rock the crowd. But sometimes you got to deliver your information in the correct manner so that you can get to do what you want to do. We might do a live boot camp. Might. Who knows? Okay, right. But here's the thing. You can write your book, webinar. It might be a curriculum. It might be YouTube videos. It might be any method of delivery. You as an information expert who wants to get speaking gigs, you got to realize any method of delivery that starts to transform your customers' lives will probably lead you to speaking on stage somewhere if that's what you want to do. It's a very good chance. So we're just telling you, don't get honed in on one simple method of delivery, okay?
Yeah, and then, I would say to that too, some methods of delivery you just may not be good at. Right? Like You can practice and practice and practice over time. You just may not be the best person to give a keynote, or you might not be the best person to write an article or whatever it may be. Right. Mm-hmm. I know that my best method of delivery is not doing a keynote address, all over the country. It's just not in my personality to do that. Right. But I do know that I'm an engineer, by training, and I do know how my mind works. So my method of delivery might be creating some type of framework or process, and then, doing other things to distribute that framework and process out, whether it's like building software, for example. So Great Black Speakers is a platform, but it's really a software platform at the same time, right? But that was my method of delivery to solve the challenges and problems that people were having in the speaking space in terms of booking speakers, for example. So you have to do what's best for your customer, but then you also have to really analyze your area of credible expertise and your skill set and mix all those different things together to find what unique package of skill, or what unique package works for your customer and also works for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yep, good stuff. Agree. All right, so I got the questions open too, Lawrence. Not clear what to focus on. First of all, KK Hill, you said, great time. You read my mind. Thanks. Yep, you're welcome. We had a great time with you all today, as always. Now, let's get some of your questions answered, because you got a few of them here. So you're not clear what to focus on YouTube or what target audience, and that relates to your next question, which is suggestions on focusing on one thing to brand myself in. And was there a Thursday call for the hot seat? I couldn't find a link. Lawrence is going to take care of that. Let's answer the first two. Not clear what to focus on for YouTube or your target audience. Suggestions on focusing on the one thing to brand myself in. Now, you asked these questions pretty early in the webinar. You asked these about 15 minutes in. And I think you actually asked them before we started digging into how to begin to discover your target audience. So, or to figure out what your areas of credible expertise are. So just to rehash a little bit, and Lawrence, you can let me know if I'm missing anything. Just real quickly, is that your YouTube channel is going to be directed towards your target market when we're looking for buyer personas or customer avatars, which is going to represent your target audience, okay? So if you're looking on the one thing to brand yourself in, let's be careful. Your brand is a little bit different. We're going to talk about branding a little bit more. Okay, what we're talking about right now is just finding the terrain and the vehicle. We're talking about your niche, where you're going to operate. And the way you do that is you got to go back to asking and listening. So you want to go back to doing a few surveys on your own, or you want to ask some people who you believe are in your target audience, okay, based on your area of credible expertise. And just start finding out what is the main problem that you're having right now, or what are the main 2 or 3 issues you might have. You should have wrote that question down and Lars gave you told you to write down. But if you do that, it'll help you to start narrowing in on what area or what markets you want to focus on. And then we can look at those areas, mine them for problems and solutions, and determine how your areas of credible expertise can be framed to provide a solution for that particular audience. You want to add anything to that, Lawrence?
Okay. No, I think that's a great answer.
Okay. All right, cool. So we'll keep moving on that one. Let's keep going. Let's see what you, okay, Christopher. So what if you're wanting to do public speaking for schools? What should the message be to kids? Here you go. Instead of telling you your message, what I'm going to do is tell you this. I will tell you that in schools, and you should go ask. I'm glad you're asking me. That's great. Nothing wrong with asking a few educators also. A couple principals, assistant principals, some students, some teachers. But I will tell you for a fact, some of the main things they're looking for in schools are ways to improve test scores, right? Decrease absenteeism, increase diversity, anti-bullying. These are some hot topics when you say for schools. Yes, schools are looking for leadership, especially if your leadership program helps deliver a message of diversity or anti-bullying. Are they looking for programs on how to overcome diversity or emotional intelligence? Yes, especially if that helps out with test taking or helps out with absenteeism or helps out with anything or making positive, healthy decisions. There's another big topic in schools. If your program relates to helping young people make better decisions, then there's a chance that they will be interested in what you have to say. So those are some tips for at least getting in the ballpark. This before we decide exactly what your message is. What do you mean by that? What I mean by that is my message, which I had a few different ones, but one of them was failure is only permanent if you quit. Another one was you guaranteed to win once you defeat the enemy within because it's all mental. Those are great messages, but those didn't identify specific problems or wants and desires that particular target market had. So I had to find out those things first, and then you can decide what your message should be. I've seen just about any message anybody wants to make. Listen, let me say this again. I have seen all kinds of messages about what people think they can teach a young person to help him or her do better on their test taking, or have better character, or make better choices, or be drug-free, or avoid substance abuse, or abstinence, things of this nature. These are some of the things that are problems for teens and young people that you can take a look at. All right. So, Chris, I hope that answered your question. Let me know if you need a little more. All right, who we up to now? We got Dennis. So let's say that I am working with delivering something to an organization or to an agency, and that I am making an offer. Something like you were saying when you said you sold products as an entire set of books with journals and other such items. Is that to be an offer? Yes. What that is that I had multiple methods of delivery or packages that I put into one offer. So I had the book, and I didn't start with all of this. What I'm saying, eventually, now today, I can offer things like I can offer a book that comes along with a teacher's manual, that comes along with the curriculum, that comes along with a set of complimentary videos that the students can watch, that you can play before class, that you have them read and study the video. And I can come back around and say I can offer support to the teachers that might be delivering this. I can help customize it, and we can take all of that and wrap all that into one bundle, and y'all can wrap it up by bringing me to speak to the students at the beginning or the end of the year to launch everything off. Here you go. I can take all that and put it together. And what it is that it is very similar information of different levels and details, but I am delivering in different methods that they consider valuable because they love to spend the money. They had to spend it. You just got to have it packaged in the right way to get it from them, okay? So hopefully that answers that for you, Dennis. Dennis, what did you say? Oh, part of it froze? I'm guessing it froze on your part. Did you hear me freeze, Lawrence?
No, you didn't freeze.
Okay, so Dennis, hopefully you got that. The screen froze a little bit. Okay, your screen froze. I'm not sure what part you didn't get, but I'm going to tell you, Lawrence didn't see me freeze, so instead of me repeating everything, you can tell me the part you missed, or you can go back and take a look at the recording also.
Yeah, the recording will be up in the morning as well.
Okay. You can? Okay, good. All right, good.
All right, cool.
All right, let's keep going. Who we have right
Ramona,
here?
Yeah. How do you use the method of delivery? I didn't get the chance.
I think we answered that one.
Yeah. Oh, we did. Yes. Yep. Okay.
Ramona, I think I answered that question first. Didn't I? How to use the method of delivery to offer an alternative delivery? Yes, we did answer
that.
Yeah.
Very cool.
We answered that.
All right. So Brenda asks, you mentioned Facebook ads a lot. Do you advise us to do Instagram ads? I advise you to go wherever your customer is or where you think that your customer is, right? So that could be Instagram. Instagram is very hot right now, especially in the business to consumer side of things in terms of just connecting with just different people and communities out there. That's why Julian and he pushed forward the idea of doing these Instagram pods because that's where a lot of people are just hanging out right now. But you really just need to go where your potential customer is hanging out. So for example, for great Black speakers, since we're business to business and work with a lot of event organizers who are booking things, we do a lot of stuff on LinkedIn, right? So LinkedIn is one of our chosen methods methods of just going where our customer hangs out. And then second to that would be Facebook, right? But Boyce uses a lot of YouTube, and he uses a lot of YouTube because he knows that's where his audience is hanging out. And also he likes to talk. So it gives him an opportunity to really just connect and talk to his customer base from that perspective. So as it relates to ads, yeah, Facebook is the I guess 1,000-pound gorilla, out there right now, and they're the one, that's the place that everyone's kind of hanging out. But I don't want you to really think in those terms, in terms of I have to do Facebook ads or I have to do this type of ad, because 10 years ago or 10 years ago, the place was Google, doing search ads and that type of thing. So you really just need to go to where your audience is hanging out. We do a lot of Facebook ads. We've been exploring Instagram ads a little bit, but it really just differs and varies. But once you answer that question in terms of where your customer's hanging out, then that's where that's where you need to start placing your advertisements.
Good stuff. All right. Let's see, Danita. I enjoy writing about local Black entrepreneurs. I don't know how to monetize this.
I mean, two people come to my mind, right? The first is Mixergy with Andrew Warner, right? And we were subscribers and have been subscribers to Mixergy for a long time, or me and Boyce. And then the second is Entrepreneur on Fire. I can't remember the guy's name who runs that, right? But they have found out ways to monetize just talking to entrepreneurs. Like that's all they do all day is talk to entrepreneurs. They do a podcast a day, just talking to a specific entrepreneur, and they're both making at least $500,000 a year doing that, right? And that's because they have built up an audience by talking to entrepreneurs and then start selling products that the audience wants or advertising products that, that particular audience who wants to listen to what they have to say wants. So you could probably do the same thing as it relates to writing about or connecting with local Black entrepreneurs. There's something that they have that, I guarantee you on a local level that the audience wants to see. So you just have to figure out what that particular thing is to monetize and then go from there. But, to give you ideas in terms of where you may want to start, community, creating some type of community, some type of advertising, some type of book, some type of masterclass, something along those lines would be things that I would, just come to my mind in terms of how you can monetize.
Yep, I agree with everything Lawrence said. All you got to do is watch, and you can even copy some stuff like from off of us, which you should be doing. He mentioned a book. You could take some of those same interviews, put them in a book. You can take some of those same interviews, make them live on a video, and then you can get ads possibly, and start generating that. You can take some of those same interviews, and after you compiled enough of them and you're having people subscribe, and you have, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 subscribers, then you know what? You can have a one-day webinar where you say, you know what? I want to invite these entrepreneurs to come on here and talk for 30 minutes about their keys to success. And we're going to have a local entrepreneur webinar, that's about how to be successful in business and at this local level. You could go talk to your chamber of commerce. It could be online, but then you got to take advantage of the offline stuff. Go to the chamber of commerce, the Rotary Club. You can do things of that nature that will also help you begin to build your audience, but also generate some revenue. And I agree with Lawrence. The best way to do that is to pick at least three people that are currently doing something similar, even if it's on a national level, and just pick them apart. Just like he said, pick them apart and see what they're doing.
Right. Mary Jo asks, can you guys suggest a good camera and mic? Can you also speak on self-publishing versus print on demand? So can you guys suggest a good camera and mic? Yeah, so I use a Logitech. I forget which one it is. It's the Amazon Choice. It's the Amazon Choice one that costs like $49.
For the computer, right?
Yeah, for the computer.
Yes.
And I also have a Google Pixel phone. iPhone will work. Samsung will work, though. Any flagship phone will do the job if you're doing something on your phone instead of the computer. My mic, I use a Blue Yeti. Are you using a Yeti too, Al? I can't remember. No,
I don't have a Yeti right now. But I use something. I have a Yeti. Interesting. I have one. I'm not using it. I got headphones on, but I use Sennheiser headphone mics. Sennheiser was a microphone I learned about as a musician, so I kind of like them too. I like the Yeti. I just like to cut out the background noise. There's a lot of things going on in my house. I got two, a teenager and a tweenager. Things be going on. So.
Right. Yeah. So
and cameras, my camera. Here's the thing. I have to go look at my camera. My hard drive camera, my HD camera, hard drive camera that I use that's set up in a room in my house that I use as like my studio. I don't even know the exact name of it. And I'll go look at it later and tell you the
any camcorder. Any camcorder would be good.
If it's on sale, unless you're trying to be a professional, I'm telling you. If it's on sale and it's an HD camera, right, and it comes with software for your computer, and it's got a nice hard drive, and it's in 1080 or whatever, or even up to 4K. I mean, if 1080 is good enough, trust me, you'll be fine. Mm-hmm. You will be fine, because by the time you get around and need something better than that, you're gonna have the money. You'll probably have somebody that's a videographer working for you, or you're gonna realize I could afford something better, but I don't even need it.
Right. Yeah, in terms of self-publishing versus print on demand, I can't really speak too much about that.
So, okay, first of all, self-publishing versus print on demand. Most people that are so there's a slight difference there. You could self-publish without doing print on demand. You can do that. You can self-publish, then go talk to a traditional printer, right? Or go get you go get you a license. Every state has a license that you might need for moving that retail license for moving that much product. But so you could do that. You go self-publisher, go to a traditional printer, send your book and your files off of there, and get them to mail back books, 5,000 copies of your book or 10,000 copies. And if you really want the names, we can give you some names, but just understand what I'm saying right here. 5,000 books, 10,000 books. I don't care if they do only cost 50 cents a book or $1 a book. That is a lot of books. And so if you have some place to keep them safely, I saw somebody order 10,000 books. Was trying to keep them in a garage that wasn't really weather insulated, and the books just started getting messed up, man. I mean, this all kind of wrinkled, and the weather would tend to be hot and then cold and hot and mildew and stuff. It was messed up. So keeping all that stuff is a lot. All right. Print on demand has a lot of advantages, and I'm not saying it's the only way, because it's also challenging if you ever want to turn back around and try to go see a traditional publisher. But I'm the type of guy with nowadays, I just believe, and I hear from so many big name authors, that unless you're getting a publishing deal where they give you a 6-figure advance or more, man, you might as well go ahead and start taking a look at self-publishing and looking at print on demand first. That is, I get books as I need them, or I can order them and they'll drop ship them right to the place without me having to store any. That's a much better option for people who are intermediate level speakers than to say, I'm going to keep 10,000 books here, then I got to go ship them all the time anyway.
And not even ship them, that's a secondary concern. It's the inventory cost in terms of, if your money's tied up doing that, then you can't spend it on advertising or something else to grow your business.
Yep. So that's okay. Mary Jo said, thank you. That's my 2 cents on that. And we'll talk about that more.
Yeah, we will. And I don't even think self-publishing and print on demand is the either or situation. Yeah, I think print on demand is a subset of self-publishing. But Al and Julian are much better at talking about this subject than I am.
Okay, let's keep going.
And Boyce,
we already answered Jane's question about Boyce's niche, didn't we?
No, we did not actually.
Okay, let's answer that.
We did not answer Jane's question. So let's just work through the model.
Okay.
Boyce's audience. So we know we have the word Black in just about every brand that we own. The Black Business School, for example, or Financial Juneteenth, or whatever along those lines. I talked about the different buyer personas that we have, about the traditionalist, the freeman, and the rebuilder. So those are the 3 buyer personas that we have for the Black Business School and Boyce's audience in general. In terms of ACE, area of credible expertise, so we know Boyce knows about finance. He has a PhD in the subject. He also speaks about Black social commentary, quite often, and he's been on CNN to prove that. So that's an area of credible expertise for him, and a lot of other national media and AOL Black Voices writing, for so many years. In terms of, and also the skill of teaching. So Boyce is an excellent teacher, right? So that's another skill that he has from his ACE, because he taught in college for 15, 20 years or whatever, how long it was. In terms of offers, we looked at the market. You have what Jay Morrison's doing now. You have so many different people: Dave Ramsey, Susie Orman. There's just so many different people out here teaching this idea in so many different subjects. Real estate. We would really need to go from topic to topic if we want to go deeper into that. But method of delivery for a lot of those people and offers is some type of online course, some type of boot camp, some type of live seminar. We found that online has worked best for us because of the lifestyle that we want to live. So when you put those 3 things together, we help. Basically, when we put those 3 things together, well, you get the niche of online courses. One piece of it, right, is online courses to teach Black people about financial empowerment. What makes us different is because we don't come from it from like a personal finance standpoint, which is important from us. We come at the problem from a freedom and legacy perspective. So that's what makes us different in terms of our branding, right? So we want to own the words of freedom and legacy, as a company, and everything that we do, really focus on that from a branding standpoint.
And I'm always thinking generational comes to mind for me too.
Generational wealth. Yep, that too. So that's where the legacy piece is. You have generational, wealth and legacy.
Yep. Good. And you know what? And that reminds me. So we didn't talk about that too. So your areas of credible expertise can lead you to topics for the market, but just keep in mind, if you want to take your audiences or your topic or whatever you always want to go as best you can. Wherever you are, just see if it's possible to go one notch more specific. And so by one notch more specific, that usually requires you to add more words to it. So there is motivational speaker, then there's youth motivational speaker. Then there will be like at-risk youth motivational speaker. Okay, you can go down in there. There will be finance and personal finance. And then personal finance for young professionals, personal finance for young Black professionals. So what happens is that if you can take a topic or a subject or something like that, take it and just start saying, if I make it more and more specific for each audience, it should get sharper and sharper. You come to this point that we're talking about, which will give you their niche. And then from there, you start to develop the brand.
Exactly.
Okay, let's keep going. We got a few more to answer here. Let's go.
We already answered Soretta's question.
I'm laughing. We answered Soretta's question. I'm laughing at Jada. She's like, that's literally how y'all sold me. Good. I mean, you know that it works. And you know it works too.
Right. Oh, I'm writing a book about my life. Not sure how to proceed. Self-publishing. Yeah. We answered the question from the mechanical standpoint, but then later you asked something about as a means to help my credibility. Yeah. So your book is a means to help your credibility. This is a process problem. You know what? We might have a little small, I guess I'll add that to the list of things to do. Maybe a small masterclass about self-publishing in terms of, what that process, would be like if you were to go that route. But yes, a book will help your credibility. And we talked about self-publishing versus ebook, those types of things. Ebook, I would say, is the easiest and the least expensive. Publishing takes the most amount of work in terms of trying to find a publisher, right? But if you do, if you do that, it's the thing that often give you the widest reach, but not always, actually. Self-publishing, there's ways that you can get that type of reach as well. But most people in this group, we would probably recommend self-publishing though, but we'll talk more about that. Yeah.
I agree with Lawrence. I want to tell you, I'm careful because there's so many different ways you could be successful, and I don't like cutting off different ways, but I am telling you that if you are not a celebrity, and especially a celebrity, and you're trying to get a book deal and you don't have an agent already, and you're trying to build your business and you're going to be going out getting gigs X, Y, and Z, I am a fan of self-publishing sooner rather than later because you can always write more books. And so we generally, like you said, cost effective is the self-publishing ebook side of things. And also it generates more profit a little bit quicker. Let me say this. When we say self-publish, I want to be very careful. I'm not talking about when you send all your information to Lulu or someplace like that. I hate to put them on blast. That's just what came to my mind. And I told y'all, I'll tell y'all the truth. Okay. Now, what I'm saying is, I'm not telling you need to send your book off to some place that charges you $14.95 or $10.95 every time you need a copy of your book. There's a difference. When we say self-publishing, I'm talking about making your own imprint. We're talking about have published by something that you own, part of your LLC, a publishing company, or something that you own, self-publishing, so that you can send them to a printer where you can generate most of the profit. Now, some people are in such a hurry that they want to use one of those other services. I've seen them do that, but the problem with them is that they have all your files. A lot of times they own some of the copyrights. I always hear that there's a lot of pros and cons to that. And for me, it's just my personal opinion, I hear a lot more cons. All of the successful speakers that I know personally, almost all of them have at least one self-published book, and they all have their own imprint. They publish it themselves. And what I mean by that is I got my own publishing company, whatever it's called, and I got my book together. I went and got the editor. We got the designer. We got the cover designer, put this whole thing together. And now whenever I need more books to sell, I can go get them printed. So that's where I'm with that.
All right, cool. So I think we're running out of time here.
Okay, yeah, we are. Well, we're running through time.
Yeah. So are you guys tired?
Where y'all at?
Or you're full of energy over here?
Yeah, we still, everybody's still here, Lawrence. Let's hurry up.
All right, Janice says nope.
No,
Yeah,
okay. Let's hurry up and get some more of these answered. So we're gonna rapid fire through the rest of these. If we don't answer them fully, what I'm going to expect you to do is keep your question and say, I need follow-up information on that. Hit us next week, and we will make sure we do that.
And Janice, that goes for you too in terms of your video. We'll analyze your video at the start of next week as well.
Yes, don't worry. We will get your videos done. And I'm messing with y'all on purpose. I told Lawrence I said, it's going to show them that when I say be ready, we mean be ready. Because we will call you and say, let us see the video. Let us see your book cover. Let us see your one sheet. Let us see your website. And as we move through the course and we give you homework to do, we're going to ask to see it. Those who are ready for us to see it, we're going to work with you real quick, okay? All right. So what we're going to do is rapid fire answers, 1 minute or less, Lawrence. Let's go. I'm more of a reserved person and feel more comfortable with small workshops or one-on-one. I'm still trying to determine the best method of delivery.
Well, that is your method of delivery.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm the same way, right?
Let's start with that.
Yep.
Also, I'm going to tell you is let's start with that. One-on-one equals coaching. Small workshops are great. Nothing wrong with them. And doing videos on YouTube. Sounds good. Okay. Question to confirm. Is the survey the best way to determine?
It is a way to determine, right? I wouldn't say there's a best way. I lean towards customer surveys and interviews. Those are my two favorite ways. And ask campaigns on social media and just asking people, what it is that they want. Those are some of the, I don't want to say easier, but yeah, the easy or more straightforward ways of doing things. If you're trying to put up a landing page and ads, you can get a lot of information from those experiments, but they take a little bit more work to do.
Yep. Okay. Let's see. Rita is back here also trying to create a YouTube channel and podcast. I'm a life coach and want to reach women, young adults that have gone through some things in life and need some encouragement to continue to move forward and sharing my life story. Yes, you should share your, listen, absolutely. The encouragement is this. The thing that makes you the most unique in the entire expert industry is your life story. We just need to take your life story, frame it in a manner so that it is valuable and transformative for a specific audience, the one you're talking about, so that it solves, this particular problem or solution that they have. So the answer to that is always tell your life story. Absolutely. We'll figure out exactly what's the best way to frame that, okay? I tell my story, Boyce tells his, Lawrence tells his, everybody tells their personal story. Okay.
Yeah, and we have an entire lecture on storytelling, so.
Yes, we do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I crossed that one off. I missed one.
No, that's good. No, you didn't. I don't think you got that already.
Okay.
Yeah. So what was the first one you mentioned? Danita, I'm not sure what are you referring to in terms of what is the first one?
Yeah, tell us what you're talking about. What's the first one of what that we mentioned? Okay, right. With us having the privilege of 4 instructors' experience, I'm just starting out. I'm thinking I should spend some time thinking about the type of lifestyle I want to help guide, the method of delivery, audience, etc. Yes, that we need to develop. What do you think the balance between doing extra work to get off the plantation with lifestyle goals? You know what? For me, that's a personal question, and I'm very careful about how to answer that. What I'm saying is your thinking is 100% correct. I am at the point now in my life right now, I would not do some of the things I did when I first started. Right now, I got a wife. I got 2 sons. I love spending time with them. I seen what's going on with them. There's no way in the world I'm going to be spending 16, 18 hours a day typing on the computer, working on stuff, calling people like I used to do. My work day is a little bit different. I still grind. I like having days off on the weekend. I like to spend time. So that is a judgment call, and do what's going to make you feel good and work best for your family. Okay.
Right.
I thought that was the brand. Jane, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Let me know.
I'm not sure if she's talking about Boyce's, like the Black Business School. I wrote something about what the Black Business School is. So the Black Business School is a brand that operates in the online education niche. Well, the online financial education for Black people niche, right? The Black Business School is the brand, and what makes us different is we focus on legacy and generational wealth versus other things that people focus on.
Listen to that. Online education for Black people. That's the niche. Boom. Okay, and all the courses relate to that. Pro speakers, content creator codes, all this stuff is helping Black folks make money, okay?
Right.
Did you start at the legacy generational level, or did you build up to it? My philosophy is that we need to discuss this at the high level, but regarding building credibility. I think she's talking about where you all started, and I'm going to say for Boyce, and Lawrence, you can answer this better than me. I'm just going from the outside in. It just seemed to me when I met Boyce, he was always interested, for him, that was his thing, in helping Black folks out. I'm talking about big. Like, we group, as a group, Black folks need to move economically to become more empowered. That was his thing. My thing did not start from a legacy, but it was generational. I started off thinking like we need to help young people. If we help young people, I got a Dunkin' Nugget, I always say it's easier to prepare them now than it is to repair them later. So that was where I started. So that just kind of depends, on your message and some of your desire and really what your audience wants. And we'll talk about that more. All right. What's the next one here? Jane, I love Jane. She got plenty of questions. I'm not mad. Ask your question.
I'm mad at her, shoot. Yeah.
Jane, and I'm going to jump down because I see this. Jane says, being a single parent, I wanted to know I can still do this. Absolutely. Yes, you can. You do have time. And not only do you have time to build this thing and still spend time with your son or daughter, you're going to have, eventually, you're going to have more time and you're going to have more opportunities for your son or daughter. So, yes, you can do this as a single mom. There's so many single moms in the industry. I can't begin to tell you how many. I am telling you.
For real. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I'm sorry, Lawrence, you wanted to say something else right there?
No, I didn't. So I had a process for creating a generational curriculum for parents and people who want to build the Black community up. I think that's a wonderful idea. Yeah, we should, definitely talk about that.
Okay. How do we do this? Get our own imprint to self-publish. Okay, Mary Jo, we're going to have, Lawrence is just talking about this. We'll get more information for you specifically, but just in a nutshell, what's going to happen is either A, your current LLC, that's the one, your speaking business should be set up in some type of LLC probably, all right? That's not the only entity, but that's generally where we steer people, okay? Some type of LLC, right, is going to then go through the process of getting your ISBN numbers, okay, and contracting with people who will edit, make the cover for you, and then your company is going to own the ISBN so that you can print, so that you can get the book set up, get it. I like mine set up through a distribution deal. We'll tell you about that a little bit more. It's online distribution. But what happens is the ISBN number is going to be registered. That makes your book official. You got me? And what happens is your company will then not only own the copyright, but it will be the company that published the book. You can get the book printed in a lot of different places. The point is, who is the publisher? That's what we mean by that. And we'll give you a more detailed template or step-by-step guide on how to get that done very soon in the future, okay? All right. Boom.
All right. We did it. Woo. Thanks for spending time with us tonight, everybody. I'm going to also, I put the link to the hot seat in the chat a little earlier. The hot seat on Thursday at 8 p.m. I'm going to put it in here again. So make sure you register. And the link from last week doesn't work for this week as well. So make sure you register for this particular link for the hot seat. Of course, I'll send out an email about that in a day or so.
Yep. And homework for next week is just pick those 3 ones, your audience. If you can, write up a little buyer persona of your audience. Okay. We might ask for it. Let us know your area of credible expertise, maybe 2, maybe 3 at the most areas of credible expertise. And, what you think a good method of delivery is based on those 2 for your target audience. And let us know so we can take a look at your niche, and we'll also come back around to the YouTube link. Make sure you do your homework.
And last thing, we want to follow, practice what we preach. So one thing that we would do at the end of this presentation, so in the chat right now, please write the best thing that you learned from tonight, or the most impactful thing that you think will help you in your career of being an expert. Please write it in the chat.
Yep. Then we'll be able to save and keep that. That would be great. They roll with us to the end, and I will give y'all
I
a few
know.
minutes to type because they typing in some good stuff right here. Identifying my niche. Okay. Jada, you got a question about paying the next bill? That's right.
You'll be billed every 30 days, by the way, Jada.
Okay, you're seeing some good stuff here. Oh, all right, Ray, I feel you. Show up looking to help out. Show up looking to help out. That's right.
All right. So
this class confirmed what I figured out after the last class. I love it. Brand, niche, focus, audience. That's right. You got it. Method of delivery. Oh, the true definition of a niche and bring something to the table. That is good. Brand is what differentiates you. Yes, brand is what differentiates you. It is your trust transaction that you have with people.
Dana likes
like
Dunkin' Nuggets.
All right. That's good. In case y'all can't figure out, that's my brand. That's more than just my brand. It's a brand, but it's also a delivery, a method of delivery. I started realizing I needed stuff. Like I needed bite-sized bits of information to give, especially young people when they, you know how their attention span is. So, Dunkin' Nuggets, man, I must have been, I was years into the game before I came across Dunkin' Nuggets. I did not start off with them. I'm talking about, so I don't think I even trademarked Dunkin' Nuggets. So just got past 5 years recently. I don't think I even trademarked Dunkin' Nuggets till about 2011, 2012. I was already 10 years in before I really started to get my hands on that. I was always saying little phrases and stuff, but it took me a while to get that terminology. Okay, spend more time asking and listening. That's good. All right.
All right. Yeah, we can talk about trademarks and stuff in the future. We'll probably bring in a lawyer to do that as well, to co-teach that class. So, all right, everybody. Well, thanks for sticking with us to the end. I hope you guys got some value out of it.
Yeah, and, thanks for all the love.
Yeah, and we'll see you on Thursday's hot seat call. Then don't forget, I know we recommend you take one class at a time, but if you don't, Boyce's class is tomorrow, and I'm sorry, the Boyce's class is tomorrow, and Julian's class is on Wednesday. So right. Talk to you guys later.
All right, be safe, be well, be blessed. Take care.
All right, bye-bye.